wish, my succotash wish.
Sing it, baby.
I couldn't ask for another. No, I couldn't ask for another. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. That's the moment. Groove is in the heart.
Watch out.
The depth of the groove moves us to the end loop. We're going through to one year's a who. I couldn't ask for another. No, I couldn't ask for another. DJ Souls was on a roll. I've been told he can't be sold. He's not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious. I couldn't ask for another.
Something lurks in this torso. Heart got a deal you wanna know. Delightful, truly delightful. Making it, doing it, especially at a show. Feeling kinda high like a Hendrix haze. Music makes motion moves like a maze. All inside of me, heart especially. Hilt of the rhythm, where I wanna be. Come on, flowing, glowing with electric eyes. You dip to the dive, baby, you'll realize. Baby, you'll see the funk inside of me. Baby, you'll see that rhythm is the key. Get with it, can't think, quit it. Stomp on the stoop when I hear funk blue. Playing pop pipe, follow her to shoot. Baby, just sing about the groove. Sing it.
Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the
Blow them home on.
Groove is in the heart.
Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the heart.
Come on, y'all deep. Y'all are crazy, man.
You might get what you're after. Cool ladies, strange but not a stranger. I'm an ordinary guy, burning down the house. Hold tight, wait till the party's over. Hold tight.
White time.
In for nasty weather. There has got to be a way. Burning down the house. It's so quick to pack your bags. Time for jumping overboard. Transportation is here. Close enough but not too far. Maybe you know where you are. Fighting fire with fire.
my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back. Sometime I'm 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 way down low. Can my honey come back? Can my honey come back? Down low. Can my honey come back? Can my honey come back? Down low. Can my honey come back? Can my honey come back? Down low. Can my honey come back? Can my honey come back? Sometime can my honey come back? Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back? Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back? Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday.
I'm going over here. Sometime can my honey come back? Sometime I'm on a red back jack. Sometime
Moment. Hi. Yo. Okay, hold on, you guys. I'll be right there. Right there. Okay, thought I had some caffeine, but I guess not. Cool. Hello. I have to text Will and tell him to. Hi. Can you bring some caffeine home?
A man walks down the street, he says, why am I soft
I need
in the
caffeine.
middle? Why am I soft in the middle? The rest of my life is so hard. I need a photo
Okay.
opportunity. I want a shot of
All right.
redemption.
Oh, I have
Don't
my
wanna end
friggin'
up a
thing on.
cartoon in a cartoon graveyard.
I have my Get Ready With Me headband.
Dogs in the moonlight. Far away, my well-lit
Okay,
room.
1 second.
Just a beer, melon beer.
Hey everyone, get ready with me. Happy Friday.
I don't find this stuff amusing anymore.
Happy Friday, everyone.
If you be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. I can call you
Quangeft Quan Cozy.
You want to come over, say hi? Okay, come on. Come on. Bandit D, thank you for the 17 months.
man walks down the street.
Hi,
says, "Why am I
Drostet, thank you for
short
the tier
of
1
attention?
crumpets. Thank you for the
Short
bits.
span of attention and, whoa, my nights are so long. Where's my wife and family? What if I die
The song's about
here?
Farley. Sequent, thank you for the 33 months.
Now that my role model is
Surely this will be a
gone,
peaceful stream.
he ducked back down the alley
Wait,
with
why?
some roly-poly little
What
backwards
happened?
A Farley blessing on this Friday.
incidents and accidents.
Okay.
There were hints and allegations.
Yeah, let me turn this down. Sorry. Okay, go, Goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. All right, what's happening? What's going on? Ashley is out right now. Can you make sure to save the Taylor news till she's back? No, how funny would it be if we did the Taylor news while she's gone? And then she gets here, we're like, oh, sorry, girl. Sorry, we just covered it. SARS. You gotta watch the VOD, girl. Maybe you shouldn't miss a minute of stream. I can't control anything, you know? Willie, thank you for the 17 months of Farley blessing on this Friday. I was up so late last night, which is why I need caffeine. We went to go see... Will and I went to go see Bring Her Back. We went with, ended up going with Nandre. So funny. I called Nandre. I was like, yo, you're not streaming. He said, no. I said, do you and the girlfriend want to come to watch Bring Her Back? And he's like, oh, can't. Her mom's in town. I was like, oh, it's okay. All good. All right, well, I'll let you know how it is. He texts me like 5 seconds after we hang up. He goes, they're going to watch TV. I'm going to come meet you. I was like, I knew you couldn't resist. So we went and saw it, and it is so... Horror is so back, baby. Movies are so back. I'm just going to keep saying that after every film I see that I love. And so anyway, we were all... It's excruciating. Let me be clear. It is excruciating watching that film. But it was such a collective experience, too. I mean, the moments of tension, of which there were many... The whole theater, like, you could just feel it. And then there were a couple really big moments that it's like everyone was just locked in. We were all locked in together. The Final Belmont, thank you for the Prime. Scooter, thank you for the 13 months. Bandit D, thank you for the 17 months. We were all just locked in. You know what? If I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. I just think it's so much better these days walking into movies blind. You know, especially because a lot of times we're inundated. It's impossible to escape marketing nonstop, like trailers, marketing, etc. So there really is joy in just, I'm going in blind. I felt like I was having an existential crisis watching it. Yeah, I mean, we all finished watching the film and we're just like, you do love I do love walking into places blind. I have been vindicated, though. I've been vindicated by the amount of people who are like, I do the same thing, where if I have to get up to use the bathroom, I kind of just keep my eyes mostly closed so that I'm still sleeping. You're like, if you keep your eyes closed like this, then you don't wake up. I want a 2-minute trailer that shows me every plot beat. You know what? Yeah. Give me a trailer that shows me every important element of the plot and then also the ending. I avoid trailers. Hell, I even wait till the trailers are done running before I step inside the auditorium. I am so good. I don't know how to use this, but I have a very particular set of skills. And by that, I mean I have one skill. And I am so good at timing, showing up to, like, walking into the theater as the trailers have ended. And I don't Google it. I'm not like, how many trailers are there before? No, baby, it's all natural. I just sense it. I just know. It is something that I've always, I've just been very gifted at. Now, sometimes you want to sit there and watch trailers and eat all your popcorn, but other times, you don't, which is usually those most times for me. Some people really like it. I get it. It can be exciting, right? It's part of the whole theater experience. But it's also like half an hour. So, if you don't have that extra time, on top of watching the movie. Then you get really good at timing showing up right when the movie is starting. So anyway, we watched that, and then afterwards, Will and I were just so hyped. We were so hyped. We came home. We went on a long walk with Farley. We were just talking about the film, and then also just how much we love horror movies. And then we started talking about China Doll again and like our past life. And I said, you know, the thing is that even if China Doll had gone forward, even if we had gotten our movie made and we were so close, we were right there. I said, who's to know? We couldn't know how things would be now because the industry is struggling. And so having had that film made would not have been a guarantee that like, that's it, we're good, we made it. I mean, it would have been really cool to have made it, but just as far as like having a clear understanding of where would we be now in our careers, who's to say? Because I have a lot of friends who have had, they've sold shows, films, etc. They've had success, and it's been a very hard time in the industry. Would you ever consider writing another movie? I mean, I don't know. That feels... Sometimes I think like maybe if I retire from doing streaming and content, then I would maybe return to that. We'll see. But it's like I just have a lot of other things that I still have not done yet that relate to now my career in content creation. So she goes. Or maybe if China Doll was made, you would have been cast on The Pit as Noah Wiley's love interest. That is a hypothetical that I will not even entertain. Because it's too painful. It's too hard. It's too... My soul. I'm going to Chicago next week. Any Rex? Yeah, go visit Trump Tower. I'm just kidding. Any Rex? Okay, go to... Go get a hot dog. Actually, you know what? Go use Nandre's list. Nandre has like a full-on list of Rex. Because I'm going to be real. I haven't lived in Chicago now in almost a decade. So I don't even really know what's happening these days. The boat tour is great. Do the architectural boat tour, especially at this time of the year. It'll be beautiful. Weather's Gorgina. It's such a fun way to see the city. Only go to Trump Tower for the worst overpriced food ever. Why is that the least surprising thing? Go do mob stuff. Yeah, mob stuff. So Nandre, if you don't know who Nandre is, Nandre, here's his list. Let's take a look at it. Let me see what he's got on here. It was me. I called the feds on Hassan. Actually, it was me. He never takes my Chicago food recommendation seriously, so I brought in the Goon Squad. List of Rex below. Some closed now, sadly. Okay. Nandre's Chicago food guide. Cannot miss. What are his cannot miss? Au Cheval. Great. Love Au Cheval. Best hot dog. Super Dog. Super Dog's great. Best chicken. Buffalo Joe's on Clark. Best deep dish. Interesting. I've always been a Paisano's pizza girly because I really loved their butter crust, but I don't know how, I haven't had it in forever. Best place of all, but hard to get to, Chicago's Secret Burger. Okay, honestly, Portillo's fucking slaps. I don't even I feel I have no qualms about recommending someone go to Portillo's. Let me see what else is on here. Yeah, like, you know what? You want to know the embarrassing thing? I feel like even if someone were to ask me right now, which I do in LA, I would struggle. I mean, I think I could come up with some stuff, but off the top of my head, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm at a Taylor Swift tribute show. Can you wait till I'm home to talk about Taylor? We already talked about Taylor. Sorry, Ashley. Have my recommendations in my hometown of 30 years would be from the grocery store. I'd be like, you know what? My grocery store, they do a mean macaroni and cheese. Did you see Radiohead posting about Palestine? They're trying to sell tickets for the UK tour. Yeah, it's Tom York. Wow. You know what, Tom York? Should have just stayed silent, honestly. At that point, like at this point, if that's the best that you can come up with, because he's a creep, he's a weirdo. You can tell no PR person touched that statement too. Yeah. I thought the same thing when I read it. I was like, oh. Yeah, no, this is, at least we know for sure this is all Tom York. Hex saying, thank you for the 20 months. Kusa Kusti, thank you for the 24 months. Reggie Watts, the king, kind of fucked him up about it. Let me see. Thoughts on Tom York's recent statement regarding the ongoing genocide in Gaza. I was disappointed to see that Tom's statement centers his... Yeah, that was... Because here's the thing about Tom York's statement, okay? Even if you're not the most pro-Palestine person, did you not notice how much of the statement was about himself, though? That's why it's like, what's the point, man? Like, is it really both sides when you don't really acknowledge one? Yeah, that as well. But the thing that initially struck me was, aside from the fact that clearly he did not run that through a PR machine, was that it was so much about him. His birthday is October 7th. I'm not even kidding. Wait, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. He had more sympathy for himself than Palestinian lives. Right. So it's just like, Tom, what's the point, man? You should have just said nothing. I was disappointed to see that Tom's statement centers his hurt feelings and frames his fans' demands for him to speak up as a social media witch hunt. You know what? We're getting rid of this term now. Witch hunt. It has been so thoroughly destroyed. And it is always used now by the worst people. Unfortunately, the historical meaning behind witch hunt has been utterly removed. And now it's just when crybabies like Tom York are upset because people have been like, yo, what's going on here? He's like, this is the witch hunt. Instead of recognizing the urgency of their call for him to speak out against the world historical humanitarian crisis in Palestine, I hope Tom will reflect and decenter himself from the public outcry against the genocide, because if he and his artistic legacy stand for love and humanity, as he asserts, he can come to see his fans' actions as an act of loving solidarity with suffering people, a needed affirmation of our humanity in these dark times. I also want to address Tom's repetition of a common rhetorical tactic of those who are devoted to maintaining the status quo, that one cannot speak up or demand an end to the genocide unless they fully understand the deep complexity of this historical conflict. I urge Tom's fans to reject this conviction, neutralizing, demobilizing sentiment, and trust their hearts. You don't need to be a geopolitics scholar, exactly, to know that starving children and slaughtering families is wrong. Like, that's just an objective thing, okay? It is objectively wrong. Your membership in the human family gives you authority and indeed responsibility to speak up. All positive change starts with conscious and loving people raising their voices and working together to bring a free world, a better world into existence. Please keep fighting until our sisters and brothers in Palestine are free. Damn, what an amazing statement by Reggie. Can I also point out Hannah Einbinder? I have seen her everywhere. She writes, I love you, heart, all over the place. Like all of Miss Rachel's posts. I feel as if I'm in proximity to Hannah because the comment sections of posts that I'm in, I see her drop the I love you. I see kids being sniped in the neck. I don't need a history degree to tell you who's the bad guy. Yeah, you don't need to go to school. You don't need a fancy degree to say that's wrong. Bro, the Radiohead subreddit ate Tom's statement up and it made me so frustrated. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of Radiohead fans that are not eating the statement up. So you're certainly going to have both perspectives on it. Radiohead fans who will continue to be like, no, fuck off. Okay. And actually fuck off more. And then others who are just glad that he finally even said something, that he even remotely acknowledged what's happening. Of course, in such an incomplete way, but I think Radiohead's the best band and I'm disgusted. Yeah, I mean, this has been the feelings of Radiohead fans for like the past 20 months. And then that one clip where he screamed, where he was so awful to a fan who was like yelling, yelling in the crowd. He got one guide and he just turned on that fan who was screaming about Palestine. I just saw someone on Reddit be like, I'm so glad he spoke up about such a nuanced conflict. But see, that's what I said, where there will be Radiohead fans who are like, nope, fuck you, Tom. And then there are others who are like, I'm just glad he said something, because the bar is so low still. Even though a number of celebrities and artists have spoken up, the bar is still quite low. And especially people wanting their fave to finally say something. It's like, okay, well, at least he said something. Teddy Bear, thank you for the 4 months. Shauna, thank you for the 5. Hexing, thank you for the 20 months. Y'all need to stop calling this nuanced and complex. You know who that benefits, though? If you keep calling this too complicated, too complex, it benefits Israel. Like that's they.
Are you hungry at all, Caroline?
I will be.
I got some different proteins. I got empanadas, salmon, and turkey.
Oh yeah. Did you grab any caffeine? You didn't see my text?
No, buddy.
Oh.
I biked home. I'd already left.
Oh, okay. That's fine. No. It's good. No. I'm good. Salty Dog, thank you for the 9 months. No, I'm such a fucking caffeine fiend. I'm like, no, it's fine. Into my veins. Inject it. Meanwhile, Greta and Liam. Oh my God, I know. I saw this. What? Who is this? I saw this, and it's very brave, but it also causes this is concerning. Like concerning as to their safety. Liam Cunningham, who played Davos on Game of Thrones, and who has straight up been one of the most consistent and best voices in the artist celebrity world, of those who have been speaking up for Palestine. Like he has if you go to his Twitter, like this is the work that he's been doing for so long now. Like, he has been so consistent. That's our Irish king.
There is no excuse for genocide.
What are they going to do? Are they going to shoot me in the street for speaking up? They don't have any power. The only power that they have is the power we give them. You know the old saying, the king is only the king as long as the people think he's the king. As soon as they stop thinking it's the king, they're finished. I'm more concerned about the cowards who don't speak up. People who look at the television go, isn't that awful? Let's put on a cookery program.
Honestly, the Onion Knight is doing what his Game of Thrones character would do. Like, that's the Onion Knight, baby.
Yeah, they're the people I find disappointing. I could have a very easy life and just enjoy being a reasonably successful actor and well-known and enjoy all the benefits. But my conscience wouldn't allow me. Occupation it makes me nauseous. It involves apartheid. It involves crimes against humanity, and as we're seeing at the moment, involves genocide. If you think about it, Game of Thrones was about the nature of power and the corrupting qualities that power can give you. You have to be very, very careful with power. With documentaries, you open the window on the world, and with drama, you kind of hold a mirror up to society.
Oh my God, I just realized now, based on your comment, that he was the father from A Little Princess. This is the first time that I've put that together. That movie is one of my earliest memories of watching a movie when I was a child. And we had this little TV, and we didn't get to watch much. And I think it was like 2 separate VCR tapes. And it was my sisters and I sobbed so hard. I couldn't breathe. Like, we were all sobbing, and my mom came upstairs. We were in like the attic. We were in the attic watching this film around the smallest, crappiest little TV. And she came up and was like, "What is happening? What's going on? What happened?" We couldn't breathe. We could not breathe. We were so emotionally distraught. And that memory has stayed with me forever. Forever. Okay, so what's happening is climate activist Greta Thunberg is joining an aid ship effort to break the Gaza siege. So she, along with Liam Cunningham, and it's a group of people who are going to be joining the next sailing of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition as it attempts to break Israel's months-long blockade of Gaza. Ship is called the Madeleine. It's going to be disembarking from Catania, Sicily on Sunday with a cargo of humanitarian aid and several high-profile activists on board, including Thunberg, European Member of Parliament Rima Hassan, and Palestinian-American lawyer Huwaida Araf. Cunningham, an Irish actor best known for his role as Davos Seaworth in the hit HBO series, is a longtime advocate for Palestine and similar causes. The sailing marks the second attempt in as many months by the FFC, a coalition of humanitarian groups, to reach Gaza. A mission at the start of May was aborted after another FFC vessel, the Conscience, was attacked by 2 alleged drones while sailing in international waters off the coast of Malta. That one Greta was supposed to be on, if you recall. The FFC alleges that Israel was responsible for the attack, which severely damaged the front section of the ship. MEP Hassan said in a short video on social media that the trip by the Madeleine is a protest against Israel as much as an attempt to deliver much-needed aid to Gaza. The first goal being, of course, to reject the blockade of humanitarian aid, the ongoing genocide, the impunity enjoyed by the state of Israel, and to raise global international awareness. This action is also in response to the attack that took place on May 2nd against the previous ship that took place in international waters near Malta. Israel partially lifted its nearly 3-month blockade of Gaza last week, but since then has only allowed a tiny amount of assistance into the Palestinian territory, which the United States has warned is on the brink of famine. Yeah, so this is very noble, and also I do feel like there is there is cause to worry that Israel could attack this ship. And I think the reason that they have high profile activists like Greta and Liam, who are a part of this, is because it's, I mean, it's essentially being like, we're doing this, and if you do anything, that will only increase, hopefully, the international outrage and attention on this because of the people who are, you know, the people who are involved here. The last attempt got shot on. It would cause a massive international incident if it happens again. Like this, they are putting their bodies on the line. Yes, they are. I mean, Greta is fearless. She is incredible, truly. She is 22 years old and has been one of the most prominent global activists since she was a kid. Like, she's still young. She's still a young person and has been doing this since she was a kid. And how she has shifted in her activism in recognizing that this is not, like, you know, climate change was the thing that she started with, right? Everyone knew Greta Thunberg, climate change. And then when she made the connections between all of these issues and has been one of the leading voices now for Palestine, and how like Western, you know, the West turned on her, because when she was the climate change teenager, everyone was like, yay, woohoo, she's so cute, you know, how amazing, what a hero. And then they turned on her when she started advocating for Palestine. So wait, why did we start talking about that? Someone said, oh, we were talking about Tom York. Yeah. We were talking about Tom York, where it just also shows you, it just further frames someone like Tom York, who in his artistry, in his career, has put forth some idea that he's like, that he's like a radical humanist, right? That his music is that his music is radical, and therefore he is as well. And it's like, he can, after months and months, this is the best that he could do. And then you have people like Liam Cunningham who are putting their bodies on the line. They turned on her even before, when she started critiquing capitalism and imperialism. Yeah, but the final nail was when she took up the Palestinian cause, and then they were like, see ya. Sorry, you're no longer acceptable. In the same way with Ta-Nehisi Coates. We have seen these high-profile figures, be they activists, writers, etc., who, the second that they start advocating for Palestine and criticizing the U.S.'s, actions, then liberal media, who previously had welcomed them with open arms, turns on them. White liberals will look you in the eyes, tell you you're doing too much for defending human rights. Well, you always think of the saying, liberals are for every civil rights movement except the current one. They are against every war except the one that we are currently involved in. The German magazine actually wrote about Greta, this is the worst anti-Semitism Germany has ever seen. Yeah, I think I can think of a few more examples. I think I can think of a few more examples, Germany. Wild. Oh, God, why is this doing this again? Oh, my God, stop it. Sorry. This drives me so nuts. Note to self. I think I have to replace these. Okay. I don't know. Oh my God. All right. Okay. Speaking of big celebrity names and calling on action, we got a new letter. We got ourselves a new letter that has been signed by some major names, some of which we already know have been out here advocating for Palestine, but we got Benedict Cumberbatch, Dua Lipa, Riz Ahmed, Annie Lennox among 300 signatories of a letter calling on UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer to act on Gaza. So here is, you know who I saw in here too? Hold on a sec. Where is she? There's my girl, Amelia de Moldenberg. Okay. Here is, let me find, I have to scroll down. It's very annoying when they don't just include, okay. Hold on. 300 signatories of letter. Can you just show me? Can I just have it? Oh, wait, I think it's right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Dear Prime Minister Keir Starmer, we urge you to take immediate action to end the UK's complicity in the horrors in Gaza. Right now, children in Gaza are starving while food and medicine sits just minutes away, blocked at the border. Words won't feed Palestinian children. We need action. Every single one of Gaza's 2.1 million people are at risk of starvation as you read this. Mothers, fathers, babies, grandparents, and entire people left to starve before the world's eyes. 290,000 children are on the brink of death, starved by the Israeli government for more than 70 days. They cry until they can't cry anymore, until hunger takes even their voices, and their parents are left to do the unthinkable, hold them and wait. Those who survive starvation wake up to bombs falling on them, violence stamped with UK inaction. Flown with parts shipped from British factories to Israel, could be obliterating families in seconds. Each arms shipment makes our country directly complicit in their deaths. Over 15,000 children have already been killed, including at least 4,000 under the age of 4. Bedrooms where children once slept, kitchens where families shared meals, schools where they learned, all reduced to rubble while Britain stands by. You can't call it intolerable and keep sending arms. Every moment this continues is another moment that children die on our watch. This complicity is not inevitable. It is a choice. What do you choose, Prime Minister? We call on you to immediately suspend all UK arms sales and licenses to Israel. Use all available means to ensure full humanitarian access across Gaza for experienced aid organizations without military interference. Make a commitment to the children of Gaza that you will broker an immediate and permanent ceasefire and stop the starvation. History is written in moments of moral clarity. This is one the world is watching and history will not forget. The children of Gaza cannot wait another minute. Prime Minister, what will you choose? Complicity in war crimes or the courage to act? Yeah, I mean, I cover all these letters because, one, I just like to be keeping up with what is, what's happening within the film industry and, what high profile figures are saying what. But also to see how the language has gotten much more direct and not bothering to do any of the, I got a Rolodex of who's cool and who isn't. Yeah. But in the beginning, it was very much so like not wanting to come across as like, oh, well, obviously we have to recognize the people who died on October 7th. It's like, it has been 20 fucking months. Yeah, not couched in that sensitivity of not wanting to be labeled as an anti-Semite if, God forbid, you dare be like, hey, what's happening? The response, the retaliation to the Palestine population is awful. Aware almost 2 years of this. Yes. Horrifying. Salty dog. Ugh! I'm so sorry. This is driving me insane. Salty dog, thank you for the 9 months. Oh, God damn it. Sorry, this is like a daily occurrence now. I don't know why. I don't know why. I hope I don't have to replace this whole cloud lifter. I don't know. It's like a bug that gets in my head and I can't stop hearing it. It's a great reflection of just how badly Israel is finally losing the culture war. Yes, I mean, it's about time, but also it is significant. Like, it is significant to keep paying attention to the shift that has been ongoing, right? And remembering that the more and more people, regular, high profile, etc., who are throwing their voices now into the mix, who are if you have a platform, using that platform, signing an open letter saying stop sending arms to Israel. Like, this is all pressure and also representative of that, of the cultural and then hopefully political shift. The tide is turning slowly but surely. Yeah, also I'm just gonna briefly mention this because I saw a bunch of people mentioning it, but yes, Will Neff has left OTK. After some great years and unforgettable moments, I will be parting ways with OTK. I'm so thankful for my time with them and wish them nothing but good fortune in all their future endeavors. So, to those of you, I'd like to confess that you punched Elon. Oh. Wow, good swing. Good swing, Non. Good swing. Does this mean he's not involved with Mad Mushroom Games anymore? Honestly, I think any questions, hold on a second. Any questions about like the specifics of what will happen with Mad Mushroom, etc.? I think you can just ask him. I think you can ask him, and I'm sure he'll address it. Will and I are starting an org called OTQ and only hiring motherfucking queens. One true queen, that's right. But yeah, so that's just the update there. I don't really have anything else to add to that, but for those who have thoughts and feelings, please also just bear in mind that a lot of times you might make a presumption about something or someone and you don't know what's happening. That's it. You don't know what's going on. So yeah. Anyway, for anyone who's like, man, well, I really wanted Will to be able to make film projects, etc. That is something that he and I talk about still doing. Like that is an interest that we share, that even though he's not in OTK anymore, that doesn't mean that there's not a future where he, me, whoever else are not involved in filmmaking projects. He was kicked out because the self-suck incidents were hurting the OTK brand. Honestly, it's true. Will self-sucked one too many times, and OTK was like, sorry, but you gotta go, buddy. You gotta go. Anyway, yeah, okay. That's it. That's all I got. Ah! I'm gonna put on a video because it's driving me nuts. Oh my god, it actually makes me not want to stream. This is so obnoxious. I know, I'm trying not to point it out because I don't want you guys to hear it if you haven't heard it, but it is in my head. It's in my head. Just go steal Will's cables. I don't know where the hell they are, though. Every time I think it's fine. Because his name is Obama. Barack Obama. Would you rather that? Would you rather that or the crackling, the static? Which one? Okay, let's take a look at... Let's take a look at Donald Trump talking about...
Bobby?
Yes?
Caffeine's on its way.
What? Aww.
Oh,
Aww.
I'm stinky. I gotta shower.
Caffeine is on the way. Injected into my veins. Wasn't Willard wearing that shirt yesterday? What if I told you he has like 10 of those? He has 10 I Love Hot Dads shirts. Okay, so why is Donald Trump talking about Sean Combs? Because he was asked if he would pardon Sean Combs, and this is his answer.
Host of The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but
Like, my question is, why the fuck would you even ask that question?
I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but
Like, of all the questions to ask Donald Trump, that's the one. I mean, I know why. I know why, but it's just so gross. And also, that does look like that reporter gave him the idea.
I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So, I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Mr. President.
Just the explosion afterwards. Mistreated, yeah. So, just FYI, he can do that even before the trial ends. Like, he can preemptively issue a pardon. I hope he doesn't. And it genuinely seems as if he actually hadn't really thought about it until the Fox News journalist brought it up to him. Was like, hey, would you think about pardoning Diddy? What do you think about that? And he's like, oh, actually, yeah, let me think about it. Insisting that no one asked for a pardon for Combs, Trump said, I know people are thinking about it. Are they? Because it didn't really seem like you were until this was brought up to you. Always want to reward friends, supporters, and donors. Trump recently gave pardons to Todd and Julie Chrisley, the reality show stars who were sentenced in 2022 after fraud and tax evasion convictions. Yeah, so we know that Trump loves to hand those pardons out, and he wouldn't have to wait for a jury to find Combs guilty to get him off the hook. He could issue a preemptive pardon. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if he thinks that this could be as of a benefit to him, still, while they got a pardon for that, well, that's because they're buddies with Trump. Can we watch Todd's speech where he's woke now and learned about racism in prison? You know what? Sure, link it. Go ahead. I don't know if I've seen that. Diddy hasn't even been convicted for his crimes yet, and Trump's already thinking of pardoning him. Yeah. Isn't that crazy how that is legal? That the president can do that. You can just preemptively pardon someone. Even when the trial has not concluded. It's like, doesn't matter. Who cares?
Whether you
Okay, so you know what? I need a Todd and Julie Chrisley. Okay. Fraud and tax evasion. They were indicted by a federal grand jury in August 2019 on 12 counts, including conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, and tax evasion after prosecutors alleged the couple submitted falsified financial statements to secure more than $30 million in loans. Following a 3-week jury trial in Atlanta, both were found guilty on every single count. Todd was sentenced to 12 years. Julie was sentenced to 7 years. They were ordered to pay back $17.8 million in restitution. They reported to separate federal facilities in January of 2023. On May 27th, so wait, this was like 3 days ago, President Trump telephoned the Chrisleys' adult children during a publicly released Oval Office call and says he intends to grant full presidential pardons by tomorrow. The White House confirmed the next day that Trump had signed the warrants, and the Bureau of Prisons released both Todd and Julie hours later. The pardons also vacated the couple's outstanding restitution obligations. So not only were they pardoned and had their prison sentences, that went out the window, they also no longer have to provide restitution. So the $17.8 million they were ordered to pay in restitution, that also gets pardoned. Wow. That's awesome.
Believe it or not, because I was you at some point. Even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do. It could be you.
Wait, he said he was convicted of something he didn't do? Hold on.
It could be you. It could be any of you.
No.
And somewhere in this room, someone...
Wait, he's saying I didn't do this. And any of you could end up in the position that my wife and I found ourselves in, where we were found guilty of multiple counts of fraud. And this could happen to you as well. Well, here's the thing. No, unless you're doing fraud.
...has had a family member that has been affected by this system. So... I understand the shame that's around it.
My favorite thing is when privileged white people get caught doing fraud, and then they start talking about the system. They're like, the system, like with a capital S, the system robs people of their humanity and of their rights. The system is broken.
But I refuse to feed into that because shame is like a cancer that just spreads, and I have no shame. So, and whether you believe it or not,
we know you have no
was
shame.
You at some point. Even.
Wow. Here's a summary of the speech with his new morals on racism. Okay, cool. Todd Chrisley admits he got special treatment in prison over black inmates. We know why I wasn't denied that. Bro, it is actually the funniest thing that a rich white person gets caught doing millions in like security frauds or just broadly fraud. And then they start talking about white privilege. Then they start talking about a broken system. Todd is speaking out about the injustices that he says he witnessed while incarcerated. I have met some wonderful men. I have listened to some horrific stories about things that have gone on in our system. I will continue to fight for all the guys. You know, if this is true, then get after it, Todd. I will continue to fight for all the guys that I dealt with and that I was blessed to be with at FPC Pensacola. I will continue to expose the injustices that go on there and throughout the Bureau of Prisons. Chrisley went on to claim that the alleged injustices he witnessed were racially motivated. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Being in the prison system, anyone that says that it's a fair shake, it is not. Because I dealt with young African American males in the prison that I was in that were not treated the same. The reality star implied that he was afforded better treatment than black inmates due to white privilege. They were denied programming. They were denied access to certain things, he said. I was not denied that, but we know why I wasn't denied that. And so I think that that is a much bigger picture that we all as a society as a whole need to look at, that we are one. Chrisley's daughter, Savannah, also appeared at the press conference and said that her family members would dedicate themselves to fighting for prison reform. We're going to be in D.C. and Mom and Dad are now along for the ride because we are not leaving those men and women behind. There's too much work that needs to be done. There's too much reform that needs to be done. I mean, it would actually be incredible if this family suddenly became prison abolitionists, if they're out here doing like just dedicating themselves to criminal justice reform. Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie were indicted in 2019 for bank fraud and tax evasion and were eventually convicted in 2022 and sentenced to a combined 19 years in prison. They have maintained their innocence during and after their conviction. They're going to say the solution is privatization. God. At the press conference, Chrisley suggested that his conviction was an example of the flaws in the justice system. Yeah, I don't know about calling it flaws rather than the whole system. Even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do. He claimed. It could be you. It could be any of you. And somewhere in this room, someone has had a family member who has been affected by this system. I understand the shame that's around it, but I refuse to feed into that because shame is like a cancer that just spreads, and I have no shame. They are set to return to the small screen in an untitled Lifetime reality series, which Savannah said had wrapped filming prior to the pardon but resumed once her parents were freed. While Todd's son, Chase Chrisley, said he wasn't sure if his parents would want to be involved in future TV endeavors, the family's patriarch implied that he and Julie would appear on a new show in some capacity at the press conference. We are blessed to have our family back, and we are blessed to be coming back to television because we do have a much bigger story to tell than we ever have. Oh, you mean Todd and Julie and the whole family are going to use their experience within the system to make even more television and therefore more money? Well, great. Any one of you millionaires could be convicted of evading $500,000 in taxes and $300 million in bank fraud. Yeah, you guys don't know this, but you too could be like Todd Chrisley. You never know when they're coming for you. You never know when the system is coming for you because they're going to accuse you of doing $30 million in fraud. It could be you. You could be next. Any one of you. Any one of you. You know who did the same thing? Felicity Huffman, when she got out of prison, when she did like 11 months or whatever it was for doing the Varsity Blues fraud. And then she's like, I'm going to, she was also talking about the system and the way that a lot of Black and brown mothers who don't have the resources that she has, which is all true. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all true. But there is something that, I don't know, can't quite put my finger on it, of like privileged, wealthy white people when they go to prison, when they get caught, and then they start talking about the system. And then they start, like, they get out and they're like, you know what? This is not fair. Okay. All right. I am now going to dedicate my life to achieving justice for those who are not me. And it's like, if they actually do that, then great. Okay. Use your platform, use your privilege, etc. But it seems to be a thing that's said a lot and then never actually happens. I mean, Casey Anthony just started her content career, and she's like on TikTok in her car talking about the system and talking about how now she's going to help other people. It's like, you know what? Don't go to Casey Anthony for legal advice is what I will say. Don't go to her in general. Okay. All right. Didn't Felicity do her time in a rich person private prison? Yes. It's like a single glimpse behind the curtain without doing the work. Like, we have to fully understand it, and they can still make mistakes because they aren't in the pedagogy of it. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's a way to try and come across as repentive, but also someone like Todd Chrisley's like, I didn't do it though. I'm innocent. They're coming after me. They're targeting me. Like, this to me, with him specifically, is a way to continue saying that he is a victim in the context of the criminal justice system victimizes people. And this could happen to you. You could be next. You could be next. They're coming after you. I'm just standing in the way. They're going through me first, but then they're coming for you. Okay, so speaking of Sean
Cross-examination
Combs,
underway.
This is just a quick update on what happened with his ex-assistant, who's been going by the pseudonym Mia. She has been she is one of the prosecution's witnesses. She has accused Diddy of sexual assault and other physical violence, and her allegations of forced labor are especially crucial for the government's racketeering conspiracy case against the rapper. So as Fox News reporters are asking Donald Trump if he's considering banning or pardoning Sean Combs, and he's like, you know what? People have been asking me about this. I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't been paying attention. But if, it's got to make sure that somebody is that they're not being targeted, right? Is Sean Combs being targeted? If he's being targeted, then I'm going to have to step in. So Mia has been testifying, and I think it was today. Yeah, I think it was today that she was aggressively cross-examined by Brian Steele, who is one of Diddy's lawyers, who was, it just like sucks too, because Brian Steele, on the one hand, when he was Young Thug's lawyer, it was very like rah as he went up against the judge, when he got thrown, when the judge charged him with being in contempt of the court, and he's like, great, send me to prison. If you're going to do this to my client, if you're going to violate his rights, then throw my ass in prison. And like that was crazy. That case was crazy. The just way that it had been handled from the prosecution to the multiple judges who had to come in. And it's like, on the one hand, the last year, Brian Steele has been such a shark for Young Thug and correctly calling out violations and whatnot, but then is over here representing representing Sean Combs and very, very aggressively cross-examining Mia, who was his former personal assistant, who was one of the main witnesses for the prosecution. And he was confronting her with pictures and social media posts that appeared to show her enjoying her years working for the wealthy mogul in trying to make the case, how could you have been abused and violated by this person if you have all these pictures and social media posts showing how great it was to work for them? Mia pushing back, insisting that seemingly carefree Instagram photos didn't reflect her misery. It's like, man, this is the same argument of, oh, so this person was violent to you, and yet here's a photo of you smiling with them. Here are text messages where you're talking about how great it is to work for this person. It feels slimy, but don't all defense lawyers do this? Yes. No, I'm not saying that this is out of the ordinary. And before, when we first started covering the case, I was like, just be prepared that the cross-examination is going to be awful. It is going to be so aggressive and awful and play upon all of these myths around assault and abuse, and just prepare yourself. But it still is just like, man, Brian Steele being Sean Combs' defense attorney. I mean, he's doing his job. He certainly is.
Right now of another alleged victim of Sean Diddy Combs, the rap mogul's former assistant.
Yeah. Do you not post photos of all your traumatic experiences? Do you not, with what's happening in your inner life, like turmoil you might be experiencing, you don't have that pasted? You don't have evidence of that all over your social media?
Really testifying under the pseudonym Mia is finishing up her testimony in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial.
Defense attorneys are going to do their job, but I am still going to judge you on your tactics. Yeah. And also for like being the lawyer to someone such as Sean Combs. I know you're making a lot of money, and I know everyone has the right to defense, but still.
Mia has testified already about the, quote, chaotic and, quote, toxic experience that she had working for Sean Combs. But the rapper's defense team is confronting Mia about a series of social media posts that raise questions about whether Combs really traumatized her in the way that she describes. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges, and he denies any wrongdoing. Our Rena Roy and our legal contributor, Bernardo Villalona, joins me now from outside court. So, Rena, first, what's the latest at this hour in the court?
Yeah, well, Terry, I can tell you that during Mia's testimony, we have seen Sean Combs sort of shaking his head no and appearing to disagree with some of the things that she's saying. He's also passing notes to his attorneys, specifically once when she talked about an alleged instance of violence, when he apparently got mad at her for picking out certain workout clothing options. And Mia also testified that his bodyguard, D-Rock, had offered to send her something. He sent her a text saying that after Cassie Ventura filed that civil lawsuit against Combs in 2023, and she said to jurors that she understood that to be money. And it was that moment that Combs sort of rubbed his chin, he clasped his hands together, bowed his head, and almost seemed antsy, almost like as if D-Rock had messed up. But during the cross, he seems to be very engaged. He is listening to his defense attorney, Brian Steele, question Mia on the stand, really bringing up a trove of social media photos, as you pointed out, from her Instagram page and other social media pages that she posted with Combs that appear to show them pretty friendly. And what they're trying to do here is show that the two of them had a consensual relationship, that she enjoyed working for him and that she admired him and liked him as a boss. They are focusing specifically on one photo that Mia posted on Sean Combs' birthday. And Brian Steele asked her, why would you post that on the day that was supposed to be the 5th anniversary of the first alleged sexual assault incident? And she said that it was the only people that she was hanging out with at the time, that she didn't have time to see her family or friends. So that's where we're at right now with the cross-examination.
All right, Bernardo, your thoughts. You have the floor.
So in terms of Mia and how Mia...
You know, I'm hoping, too, that in the jury, look, a lot of us have experienced, not everyone to the extent of. Hello. Thank you. Appreciate you. Not everyone obviously has experienced abuse by your boss to the extent that Mia has alleged, is testifying to. But there is of course a common experience of not being able to do or say the things you want to for fear of losing your job because your boss is in whatever job it is. It's like there's a power dynamic, okay? So if you may not have been in a situation where your boss is sexually abusing you, but you probably have been in a situation where there's some form of abuse, certainly a power dynamic where you are beholden to the whims of your superiors, and you don't just have the freedom to protect yourself in situations that are in negative situations. Yeah, me discounting abuse. You smiled 4 months ago, therefore you're lying. It's like, oh, you kept working at that job even though it was so bad? Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Delivery King.
I mean, this was the same shit that was said with, God, I mean, Harvey, people being like, oh, but these actresses continued to work with him. Like, if he was so abusive, then why was anyone still working with Miramax? It's like, oh, I wonder if it's because of the power that Harvey possessed in Hollywood.
Is doing under cross-examination. Brian Steele is confronting her with these social media posts, and where he's going with that in terms of stylistically is trying to undercut her credibility as to whether this sexual assault even happened. He's going at it in the sense of, if you were really sexually assaulted by Sean Combs, there is no way that you will be posting these lovey-dovey messages each time during the anniversary, which is the same day as Sean Combs' birthday. So trying to undercut her credibility in that way. But now Mia is kind of pushing back, because she's starting to mention that she sees a therapist, that she's talking through this with a therapist, and that all of this has been psychological abuse, and that pretty much she was tiptoeing around Sean Combs at all these times. But also in terms of social media, that in Instagram, she highlights the good, not that she ever is stating the bad times, that was the purpose of social media back then when she was posting.
And Bernarda, all this testimony from Mia and from the other accusers kind of goes to support the testimony of Cassie Ventura, who is the main witness for the prosecution. Isn't there a law or a practice in law, principle in law, that you can't bring in bad prior bad acts to demonstrate that somebody did something bad again? I mean, isn't there? How are these witnesses getting on the witness stand given that idea, given that principle?
It's New York. Sounds like New York.
It's noisy Manhattan streets here.
Welcome to New York. So Terry, normally, especially in state court, in terms of bringing bad acts, it's usually always precluded. But this is the beauty of racketeering conspiracy. This is why federal prosecutors love charging racketeering conspiracy, because normally bad acts, especially from years ago, wouldn't come into evidence. However, if you charge racketeering conspiracy, you are putting forth before a jury a pattern of bad acts, a pattern of racketeering activity that will come into evidence that normally wouldn't come in when you're dealing with other charges.
Rena, Bernarda, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Yes, even
Stay out
over
of
all
traffic.
this. Exactly. Don't go into the street, please.
Don't run into the street because you will die. Morven Man, thank you for the 10 months. I wanted to read this part too. Here's what you need to know about today's testimony. So in late October 2015, Diddy threatened to kill both Mia and take her to Human Resources, she told jurors. Diddy, quote, doesn't sound in his right mind, she told his then chief of staff, Christina Quoram, in a WhatsApp message. The threats made Mia, quote, terrified and sad, she said under questioning from prosecutor. Steele, speaking in a skeptical tone, led Mia through a binder of photos, emails, and other materials that he implied illustrated a close bond with Diddy. You're standing right next to and leaning toward him, the man who terrorized you. Oh, wow. A picture of the two of them together. I know that he is doing his job as a defense attorney, but I just cannot help but to still be angry about it because of how this is still like a pervasive myth around victims of abuse where it's like, oh, that's interesting. So you said he abused you on this date, but then here you go 2 weeks later and you went on vacation together, or you didn't break up, or you continued to keep working at that job. And here's you talking to a friend about how great work is. Yes, Mia replied matter-of-factly. In a particularly pointed exchange, Steele asserted that Diddy, quote, never had unwanted, non-consensual sex with Mia. She replied, what I said is true. I have not lied to anyone at all. Steele then implied that Mia had exaggerated the number of times Diddy allegedly violated her sexually. Everything I said in this courtroom is true. President Donald Trump isn't ruling out a pardon for Diddy. Yeah, we already covered that. Mia, facing a forceful cross-examination, struck a respectful but defiant tone. She readily acknowledged that she lavished praise and adoration on Diddy in emails, texts, and photo captions over the years, even after he allegedly abused her. She came across as confident, far less subdued than she was during pivotal parts of yesterday's testimony. Okay. All right. Let's talk about T Swift. In other news, Taylor Swift has bought back the rights to the master recordings of her first 6 albums. You know what's really funny? Okay, a lot of times I think Swifties. A lot of times I'm like, Swifties, I can't defend you. You guys are acting crazy. But other times I will see stuff and I go, you know what? These are the moments that I understand why Swifties feel like people do really hate Taylor Swift. I saw a tweet that had a ton of likes on it, and it was about the news of Taylor buying her rights back, and it's like, yet again, Taylor showing how she can't let another woman have anything good. Like Miley, I don't know what the fuck is happening with Miley today. What news about her album? It's like Miley can't even have this day. Basically the tweet was insinuating that Taylor specifically had dropped this Instagram post about how she finally has obtained the rights to her masters, and did so because a new Miley album came out, I guess. Where it's like, oh, no one's going to be paying attention to Miley's album. And of course this was a Miley Cyrus stan. But anyway, yeah, Miley, I guess, put out a new album, Something Beautiful. This Miley Cyrus stan is like, she's being her success, her album success is being targeted by Taylor Swift, who released this photo and wrote, "You belong with me," letter on my site. about her masters, about her buying her masters back. Okay, let's take a look at this. Taylor came in with she came in with a wrecking ball against Miley's new album. Okay, so Taylor Swift now controls her entire music catalog after she bought back the master recordings of her first 6 albums. She wrote this letter. Hi, I'm trying to gather my thoughts into something coherent, but right now my mind is just a slideshow. A flashback sequence of all the times I daydreamed about, wished for, and pined away for a chance to get to tell you this news. All the time I was this close, reaching out for it, only for it to fall through. I almost stopped thinking it could ever happen after 20 years of having the carrot dangled and then yanked away. But that's all in the past now. I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. I really get to say those words. I think she bought them back for I think it was $360 million. No, it was not this, but this is also crazy. As a smiler, I'm sad and disappointed that Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande are both taking the shine away from Miley Cyrus's new album. What happened to women supporting women? Because there's news about Ariana Grande starring in Meet the Parents 4 and then Taylor Swift owning her masters. I am so obsessed with somebody whose mind thinks this way, where it's like, man, when something happens with the person that I stan, be it, Miley's new album dropping, any news about any other pop girly was being done with the intent of destroying any momentum for the person that I stan. These are not it's not possible that multiple news things happen every single day. That's not it. That is not it. 2 pop-based tweets. 2 pop-based tweets. What happened to women supporting women? Oh my God, be so real. Anyway, all right. Did you see Broadway's open letter? Yes, I did. I am going to get to that as well. Literally all of Broadway has signed a letter condemning Miss Patti LuPone. Okay, so here's what Taylor's written. All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. You belong to me. That's Taylor Swift singing to her masters. And all my music videos, all the concert films, the album art and photography, the unreleased songs, the memories, the magic, the madness, every single one. My entire life's work. To say this is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it. To my fans, you know how important this has been to me. So much so that I meticulously re-recorded and released 4 of my albums, calling them Taylor's version. The passionate support you showed these albums and the success story that you turned the Eras Tour into is why I was able to buy back my music. I can't thank you enough for helping to reunite me with this art that I have dedicated my life to but have never owned until now. All I've ever wanted was the opportunity to work hard enough to be able to one day purchase my music outright with no strings attached, no partnership, with full autonomy. I will be forever grateful to everyone at Shamrock Capital for being the first people to ever offer this to me. The way they've handled every interaction has been honest, fair, and respectful. This was a business deal to them, but I really felt like they saw it for what it was to me, my memories and my sweat and my handwriting and my decade of dreams. I'm endlessly thankful. My first tattoo might just be a huge shamrock in the middle of my forehead. That would be crazy. I know. What about Rep TV? Full transparency, I haven't even re-recorded a quarter of it. The Reputation album was so specific to that time in my life, I kept hitting a stopping point when I tried to remake it. Okay, I'm going to skip down a little bit. Yada, 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 yada. I'm extremely heartened by the conversations this saga has reignited within my industry among artists and fans. Every time a new artist tells me they negotiated to own their master recordings in their record contract because of this fight, I'm reminded of how important it was for all of this to happen. Thank you for being curious about something that used to be thought of as too industry-centric for broad discussion. You'll never know how much it means to me that you cared. Every single bit of it counted and ended up here. Thanks to you, your goodwill, teamwork, and encouragement, the best things that have ever been mine finally actually are. So remember, Swift lost the rights in 2019 after her first record label, Big Machine, sold them to Scooter Braun, who we fucking hate, okay? We do not like Scooter Braun. In a June 2019 Tumblr post, Swift called it the worst case scenario and accused Braun of years of incessant manipulative bullying. The masters were then sold again to the investment firm Shamrock Capital. The firm said in a statement Friday that it was thrilled with this outcome and that we are so happy for Taylor. Braun denied bullying the singer, telling Variety in 2021 that he had offered to sell her the catalog back, but her team refused. In a statement Friday, he said, "I am happy for her." Hate him for just the name? Yeah, the name Scooter Braun alone. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Okay. I want to watch this conversation here.
So we just kind of wanted to start off.
So this is George Howard, who's a Berklee College of Music professor, who's talking about why it is important, why it matters that Taylor Swift bought back her masters. Because the thing is that a lot of times there's this dismissal of, oh, who gives a shit? Taylor Swift is a billionaire. She's like one of the most famous people in the world. Like, why should this matter? Because like with all this shit we talk about, if this happens to Taylor Swift, somebody who is Taylor Swift, then you need to know how exploitative the industry is for all laborers, for all of these music artists, most of whom are not nearly close to the level that Taylor Swift is at. This is about labor rights. This is about this is about the exploitation within the music industry. Doesn't matter that she's a billionaire. It's the principle. Right. It was like when what's her name? Scarlett Johansson got in that lawsuit with Disney. They had to end up paying her out. It was over the release of Black Widow, where they alleged that, Scarlett alleged a breach of contract because Disney released the movie simultaneously in theaters and on Disney Plus, which they did because it would impact Scarlett's back end compensation, which in the contract was a lot, because a lot of times stars at the level of someone like Scarlett Johansson will negotiate a lower upfront salary and then a higher back end deal. So on a film like Black Widow, that's a lot of money. And so she's going to take a lower salary because of what they have negotiated for back end compensation, which is tied to the film's box office receipts. So by releasing the film simultaneously, which they had never said that they were going to do, it meant that she was getting screwed and was being exploited by Disney. So they ended up settling. I can't remember how much Disney had to end up paying her out. But it was the same thing at the time where people were like, oh my God, who gives a shit? Scarlett Johansson's so rich, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, but this is about Scarlett Johansson versus multi-billion-dollar corporation Disney, where Scarlett is this happened to Scarlett Johansson, who is Scarlett Johansson. And you should never, ever take the side in a situation like this of the multi-billion-dollar corporation who will do this kind of shit as long as they can get away with it.
Off by talking about what it means to actually own your masters, maybe giving a brief description of that.
Sure. In the music business, there's 2 copyrights to songs.
She may be wealthy, but she's still labor.
Composition, which is owned or controlled by the person who writes the song. So Dolly Parton writes a song called "I Will Always Love You," right? And she owns that composition. Then she makes a recording of it, and that's known as the master recording. That master recording is typically owned or controlled by the label. So when Whitney Houston does a cover of "I Will Always Love You," Arista Records is the owner of the master. In Taylor Swift's case, she writes most, if not all, of her own songs. So she almost always controls the publishing. The masters, as we've been hearing about for some time, were originally controlled by Big Machine, the label that she signed to when she was relatively young, which is not uncommon, right? So the way the music business, record label business works is the record labels take the risk. They say, we're going to pay for the recording of the song, we're going to pay for the marketing of it, and most records don't make money. So in order for us to sort of de-risk things, we record label are going to own that master recording forever, life of copyright, right? Which is 95 years. And
yeah, they own your work. They own your work, and it's why a lot of times artists they end up in these situations where they are broke, they are trapped in these really exploitative contracts, and their work, their labor is not owned by them.
That's, you know, for me as an artist advocate, it's not great, right? Because a lot of the times the labels will do things that are against the artist's wishes, but what the labels deem necessary to try to recoup the money, which could be licensing the songs into various things. Because when you license a song, the label has the right to license the master recording. They have to get the approval by the writer as well. But so the master is the actual version of the recorded song, and it's usually owned by the label.
And so obviously the conversation about masters has kind of been broadened by the conversation that Taylor Swift has brought up. Can you speak to how maybe the conversation has shifted within the industry and within contract negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift, for a whole lot of reasons, has been incredibly important to raise an awareness about the way the industry works. And
smaller artists are now more aware of this and look for it in their contracts too. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a plus of someone with the resources that Taylor Swift has, where she can fight these legal battles and she can make it so that artists who do not have those resources now know how to better protect themselves, to try and prevent this being an industry that just exploitation just runs rampant, that artists do not know how to protect themselves when they are starting out or whatever.
You know, again, from my perspective, as someone that's been an artist myself, and as someone that has given my life to trying to help artists build sustainable careers on their own terms, I ran the world's largest independent record label. I understand how it works, and I see it from both sides. On balance, the economics for most musicians, apropos of labels, is, in my opinion, not balanced. It tilts too far in favor of the labels. And again, very clearly, labels take the risk at the beginning stages of careers, but there is a certain point in time where it crosses over, right? Where the labels have recovered the money that they put out and then some to pay for that risk. And the deals don't change. And the artists have to just kind of, you know, take it. And it's to my mind, it's unconscionable. And you can just look at the fact at how hard it is for artists to survive, particularly in a kind of streaming landscape. The economics changed a lot for artists when we went to streaming. And then post-COVID with touring, it's really, 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 really hard. And it's not reported enough. Now, for someone like Taylor Swift, who's a superstar, you know, she's not representative of most of the artists, right? And so I love the educational nature. I love the fact that I'm talking to you all about the minutia of record deals, because hopefully that will start to get the message out. Unfortunately, most beginning musicians, the labels are still going to say, oh, you want a deal like Taylor Swift, you want to own your own masters. Well, guess what? You're not Taylor Swift, and you're not going to get that. And most musicians, and this just breaks my heart, and it's what I really try to do with my life, they will trade their rights and their money for that. It's not even the chance of being a star. It's for that moment of sort of validation, right? My first day of class when I teach the intro to music business, 100 Berklee students, and I'll say, how many of you all think you need to sign to a major label to succeed? No hands go up. How many of you all think that a record label contract between you and a major label will be balanced? No hands go up. If Jimmy Iovine or some, record label A&R person walked into this room, be honest, and offered you a contract, how many of you all would sign? And all the hands go up. And that tells you kind of what you need to know. And so the labels
I'll link
know
the video.
this. And
Yes,
why
they
would
know.
they change?
They
There's-
know. It's the attitude of millions of people would kill to be put in this position where then they will be exploited. But a major label is signing you, is offering you the chance finally.
There's an infinite supply
It's like,
of art.
do you know how many people would line up, would kill to be exploited like this?
Artists who are like, I'll give you it all for that moment of feeling like, I've been validated. Hopefully, because Taylor Swift is such just an amazing human, it seems, as well as artist, that it can become something where artists will go, well, no. And the question is, if they say no, what's their alternative? Mm-hmm. And for me, there is an ever increasing number of alternatives that don't require the major labels. And I don't want to just besmirch the major labels. There are lots of wonderful labels and wonderful people who run them. And for some, maybe many artists, labels are great. But it's not the only way. And I just hope that artists are both educating themselves a little bit more because of what Taylor Swift is talking about the contracts, but also then thinking about, well, is the trade-off worth it? Because that's essentially what Taylor Swift is saying. The deal that I made way back then was not a fair deal, right? And for her, it's largely about control, and it's largely about, she kind of views these, as I understand completely, like these are part of her. She doesn't want anybody else doing it, right? And these labels have made so much money. So it's great that we're having the conversation. I hope there are more of them.
Is there something that you wish consumers understood more about how especially smaller artists make their money and can succeed?
Yeah. And it's not consumers' fault, right? It's in the same way as like if I take my car to the mechanic and the mechanic says, oh, this needs a new whatever, I'm just gonna say, okay. I don't know how it works, In the same way, most consumers, if
They're like, you go in for an oil change, they go, unfortunately, we found that every single thing in your car is broken. So I know you came in for an oil change, but we're going to have to fix literally every other thing in this car as well.
Pay their X number of dollars to Spotify
You're like,
or Apple or whatever.
Just
It's
wanted an
somewhat
oil
logical for them
change.
to go, well, but I am paying, right? And I don't even, there's no mechanism for me to even pay more if I wanted to, right? But I've got a new startup that I'm launching that will hopefully allow for people to better support artists in a more direct fashion. But it takes conversations like this, and then it takes a certain number of fans of music who go, I really love this artist, and I really want him or them to continue making it. And they've now, and some of this goes back to the artists too, like the industry has somehow made it so that artists feel less than somehow when they have to say, look, you need to pay me for my music, right? It's really diabolical the way that's, in art and commerce is always.
Look, just create art for free, okay? Why are you expecting to be paid fairly for your work?
Holy, and maybe you guys are artists
Hogan,
yourself,
thank
but
you for
like
the
I know
gifted.
for me, the last thing I'm thinking about when I write a song is, oh, how much can I charge for it? At the same time, fans need to know if I don't make, I can't do it, or else we're just going to have hobbyists, right? And so, yeah, I don't expect most fans to understand that. I do want, and again, I'm putting my own money, and my own time into this as well. I do believe there needs to be more mechanisms where those really passionate fans can go, I want to be part of the building process because the value that I receive from your work is worth something, and I want it to keep going. And we have the technology to do that, right? The default can't just be, oh, I've got some money that disappears from my credit card every month, right? There has to be alternatives. And as I say, there are people, not just myself, that are working on that. But it's a challenging time, but it's really challenging for artists. It really is.
So do you think that the Eras Tour was kind of that avenue for Taylor Swift for fans to support her? She gave a lot of credit to the Eras Tour for allowing her, you know, it grossed $2 billion just in ticket sales without merchandise, like without all the other avenues. So do you think that that was her way of doing that?
I think partly, I mean, and it's that for sure. The relationship she has with her fans is really unique, I think, between most superstars. If you think of other superstars, I mean, The Cure is sort of different. Like Robert Smith, he was very vocal on their last tour about ticket prices and actually, you know, had some impact.
Reputation returns to #1 on US iTunes, dethroning Morgan Wallen's I'm the Problem. An old song of Taylor Swift's has just dethroned Morgan Wallen's #1.
But most of them kind of exist as celebrities more than musicians, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's an abstraction. Taylor Swift seems very she's managed to have a career that's been this sort of architecture of participation with her fans, right? Like if you go back early on, like she would do kind of interesting little Easter eggs, and like she's very, very astute at knowing that it's better for her whole ecosystem if her fans feel like they're part of the thing, right? And I say that I don't think she's doing that like with guile. I don't think she's trying to just extract, you know, like I think she genuinely feels, and you see that with other artists, right? Typically not pop stars like Fish, you know, some of these other artists that just have this really tight bond with their fans, and those are the ones where the music that the artists make is not disposable, right? Like the streaming services want desperately for listeners to just feel that music is sort of oral, AURAL wallpaper. It's just there. You don't really even know who the artist is. It's just music to cook to or whatever, and it abstracts it out. Now you've got AI coming in, which is going to only magnify that, right? So the fact that Taylor Swift is calling attention to how important it is that there is this connection and relationship between this music. It doesn't just spring fully formed like, you know, Zeus from Hera's head or whatever it is, right? She's very good at making her fans feel part of her whole process.
Have there been any other artists who have been trailblazers?
You know, that part right there, when he's talking about how Taylor does a lot of things incredibly well, but yeah, making her fans feel directly tied into her success. And it's not just a matter of like thanking your fans, going, oh my God, I can't do this without you, yada, yada. It is using, it's like structuring things so that you are always emphasizing your fans' direct involvement in supporting you as an artist, even when you've gotten to the size that Taylor's at. Yeah. I mean, always centralizing the fans, yes, which has produced also a very strong parasocial sense, because a lot of fans feel they feel that she really has a personal connection with them, that like they are as individuals and as this mass, they are Taylor Swift. We are Taylor Swift.
Or artist autonomy in the way that she has, or is this kind of unprecedented?
You see it. You certainly see it in the independent rock world, right? I mean, there's been many examples of artists that have, you know, just a real hard. I ran a label that people would buy the music just because it was on that label. They just liked it. And then there are others like the SST records, Discord records, like punk rock records, you know, and you certainly see artists on those labels where, again, it feels much more like a community or a collective. it tends to, once they reach superstar status, and through no fault of their own, by the way, right? Like if you're Green Day or someone, right? Like a band that started as very much a punk ethos, and to my mind has kept it even while they became superstars.
Waiting for Taylor to say Free Palestine. You're gonna wait a long
They
time.
can't, you know, it becomes bigger than the sort of small community. So it's hard to find another example of an artist who's been as vocal about their relationships and the intricacies of what's happened with them and their label. I mean, there have been others, John Fogerty from Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean, there have been those that have been like, this will not stand and I will sue you, right? And for many decades, John Fogerty would not play Creedence songs because none of the money was going to him. You know, so Taylor Swift's certainly not the first, but she's perhaps the most visible.
Yeah. So what else do you, besides her fans and her like vocalness about this, what else makes Taylor Swift so uniquely popular? Like
the Taylor Swift letter. Oh my God. I know I look insane, and this is like the worst timing. Like, of course, it's like when you least expect it, but at the same time, I can't believe it. Taylor Swift owns all of her music outright. She owns all of it, every bit of it, all of the album artwork, all the music videos, everything. So like she's been doing.
This is exactly what that guy was talking about, though. We are we did it. That's the sentiment. It's Taylor Swift, which we are all Taylor Swift. We did it. We did it, Joe.
Obviously for a while now, and you know, we've all been really excited about it, whatever. But she was given this opportunity to get them back, and now she has it. And it's like her letter is so vulnerable, and it just like it explains so much. And I'm shaken. I'm absolutely shaken. I have to call Gia. Like this is the least. I've never expected something like this. I never expected something like this. Oh my God, emergency episode, like coming at some point, Taylor Watch. I have no idea. Holy shit.
I am just using that as an example of something that I saw pop up on Twitter to explain this point that he was making here, and that I was reinforcing by being like, Taylor has spent years talking the way that she has a relationship with her fans is to have brought them into it brought them in to like emphasize that Taylor Swift fans are a huge part of everything that she does.
How is she able to have this very like vocal battle, and then she comes out the other side of it? Like what is it about Taylor Swift? Yeah,
you know, I mean, I have this theory that artists create art in exactly the shape that people have wounds, and it just fits. And she, I mean, how long is her career now, right? It's decades, right? It's eras. And she has managed to keep doing that. And she's generational. Like it's very hard to find others that do that. So if I knew what it was, I would tell you. I don't know what it is. I do know that when artists find that thing.
Yeah, and to be clear, it is a good thing that she has the rights to her masters. And this being transparent about the whole process and raising awareness, etc., these are all good things.
That makes the listener feel like a sort of more enhanced version of themselves. They'll not only stay with them forever, they'll pay anything to keep that going, right? And she's just remarkable at it. And I think it's consistent. Like there's a transparency, it seems, right? And it's consistent with what she's doing with her business relationships. Not a lot of artists will talk about their business relationships because they fear the reciprocity of the labels. You know, she's transparent, and I think her fans value that in her music and in the way that she lives her life.
Definitely. So, like, what goes into a deal like this? Like, we don't have a number on the deal whatsoever, but I mean, I'm curious to know.
I think we do. I think it was like $360 million.
What do you think like went into the deal? How much do you think it costs? Like, what are the negotiations? Like, she bought her music videos, her photography, her tour. movies, like she bought it all.
There's a price, and these labels, I don't want to do it off the spot. I mean, I do forensic kind of accounting work for these types of things, and they're
Are we asking if lesbian Swifties exist? Yes. Yes.
You can look at the amount of revenue that's generated. The record industry has a certain multipliers that you will apply to it, and a few years ago during kind of COVID, there were a number of firms that were buying people's publishing. Bob Dylan sold, and they would look at the. I'm sorry. You guys still there? Sorry about that.
Yes, we're here.
They would look
I've never met one, so they don't exist.
Earnings, and then they, as I say, apply multiple. I've done that work for superstars, and it's astronomical amounts of money because, especially when you
have been summoned.
Talk about all the elements that you just mentioned, all the revenue drivers. In this case, it's important for people to know also that the master recording, when that's used in film, TV, that generates revenue as well, right? So it's there's a lot of different revenue streams that come from that master.
Now that she has ownership of her original masters, and then she also has these Taylor's versions, how does that work in terms of having kind of like a competitive product that you own both of them? How do you think that's going to pan out?
Well, but that's what's so interesting. Right now, she's got it all, right? And people can choose, and she's savvy. Re-recording them. I did this. I used to manage Carly Simon, and it was a similar type of thing where Carly owned her publishing. The label had her sound recording, so whenever Carly's music were used in film or TV, Carly would get the publishing. She wouldn't get the master. Of course, let's just re-record, and it works. But as an artist, you kind of want those original versions and not just the re-recording. And some fans will as well. And now it's whichever the fans work, Taylor will get her just desserts.
I guess my closing question that I have, I know you might have more, but we were talking about how 1989 Taylor's version grossed more than the original version. Has this ever happened before?
No, but I don't know, probably not. I mean, she's crazy. And that's I keep wanting to kind of make this comment. Like, it's like if you both are probably too young to remember, but it was like 2007 or something.
Dude, that is how strong the fan base though is. The re-recorded version of 1989 grossing more than the original. Like, this is an album that had already came out. Like, people spent money on this, but then re-spent money because Taylor re-recorded it, which meant she owned
Radiohead released In Rainbows. And they said, pay whatever you want, right? And all these artists went, oh, well, we're gonna do that too. You're not Radiohead, And so it's similar like with Taylor Swift, where not every artist can do this, but I think it's cool. I think it speaks to the idea that her fans are there for her, and they'll eat up whatever she's willing to share.
Yeah. Anything else from you?
Not really. I mean, I just would be curious about your personal opinion about whether she should release. I mean, she talked about Reputation. Everyone was always talking about it. It was like, it's going to come out this day. It's going to come out this day. She's finally said, like, ooh, it's not even like a fourth of the way done, but she recorded Debut. Like, do you think it would be beneficial for her to release them?
It would be so crazy for me to second guess the business acumen of one of the most successful, not just artists, but business people in the world. So no, I think I'll defer to her as to when the right time to do that is, and just be a fan and be an admirer of the acumen there, and hope that other artists glean some of not just the wisdom but the confidence, because that's really what it takes. Artists are a very strange brew of massive insecurity and ego at the same time, and I just wish that insecurity would go away. You can let go of some of the ego too, but just being confident and believing that there's someone out there that needs the music that you are making, and get it to them directly and build that relationship and get rid of as many intermediaries, labels or otherwise, as you possibly can from the start, so you don't have to go back and clean it up.
Great.
It's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to. Oh, you have.
I have one more.
She has
What's
one
your
more.
favorite era?
Oh, favorite.
Favorite Taylor
And
Swift
shake
era?
it off. But that's just because my kids were little at the time and they'd run around the house singing it, and we had the vinyl, and it was just we whatever that period just was always in my head.
Welcome back, everyone.
Okay. That is, I am not a Swiftie, but I also know that is not an era. Sir, that is just a song. Yeah, so that's the news in Swiftland, that after a years-long struggle, battle, war, Taylor Swift finally owns the rights to the master recordings of her first 6 albums. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that with my stream right now. I'm going to re-release the Caroline Kwan stream. I don't know what that means, but if you have already subscribed to the stream, well, this is now Caroline's version. So you can resubscribe again. Yeah, didn't I link it? I think it's linked at the top there if you want the link. If you want the link for the vid, it's right up there. Do your first stream again. You know, I think that stream long ago has been deleted, but that would be funny to have gone back and watched the first stream that I ever did. It's there now. No, there's clips of it, but I think the full stream, I don't even know how long it was, but I think the full stream has long been gone. Okay, I'm moving on from Taylor Swift. I want to talk about AI influencers competing for likes and lucrative brand deals on social media. This is my competition now. An AI influencer who I guess people would rather consume content from, be influenced by, than a human being.
The perception of what is real and what is virtual reality is shifting. And where we're seeing lines blurred the most is on social media. There's a rise of artificially intelligent influencers, accounts with hyper-realistic posts, heartfelt captions, and thousands upon thousands of adoring fans. Some companies are looking to these AI influencers to be the face of their brands. But one real content creator walked the path of AI and says it took a dark turn. In tonight's Prime Focus, Nathan Russo-Smith.
Why is this the story every time? It's like, and yet it took a dark turn. Everything seemed to be fine until it wasn't.
Takes us inside the world of artificial influencing.
This is unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Karen Marjorie is popular.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
This is what happens when the social media influencer leaks a burner number to her innermost followers.
2,000 messages.
And it's still going.
And it's still going. They're just happy they now have access to this number, and hopefully some of these people get a response back from me.
But what if she could respond to everyone? Karen believed there was a way, using artificial intelligence.
It was the very first digital clone of a real human being being set out to millions and millions of people.
So you didn't know what to expect?
I didn't know what to expect.
The emerging business of influencers harnessing AI.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing I don't understand. Quan.ai. Yeah, you know what? I do need some assistance in responding to my millions of adoring fans out there. So maybe I'll also start using my AI to respond for me. Here's my question. I can't understand why somebody would engage with an AI of a person they are a fan of, knowing full well it's AI, Maybe if they don't know it's AI, that's different. They think that the influencer, whoever, is actually talking to them. But if they know it's AI, do they just not care? Is it like they would rather still have that conversation knowing it's not the person themselves? OnlyFans influencers don't have to pay some random guy to message back their fan DMs. Now it's automated. Yeah, no, I know that.
I span the
I mean, some people argue with their ex's AI chatbot. True.
globe. From Spain
Ella está viva.
to Japan
Some of the people that follow her think she's literally real.
to here in the States.
Okay,
Hey
that
guys,
is
so I
concerning.
am currently in New York City. My whole life, I've been building my businesses, pulling over 1 billion views a month on Snapchat.
1 billion views?
That is something that didn't just happen out of thin air. That's something that had to be built through time.
Fun fact, I used to have a clothing line when I was a little freshman in school.
The Nebraska native has been posting since her first YouTube video at 16 years old.
I was what you'd consider a beauty guru, and I had a very large female following.
Now at 25, she's pivoted to become a Snapchat influencer, posting with the username Cutie Karen. She showcases her high-end travels.
Bro, I feel so fucking old. I didn't even know this was a thing. What is a snap? I didn't know that Snapchat was being used this way.
Peppering in flirtatious mirror selfies, holding the gaze of over 2.5 million followers, almost all of them now young men.
I receive over 300,000 comments every single day. I mean, it's just to be able to respond back to so many fans like that is just not humanly possible. Which is
Snapchat pays by and far the most of any platform. Yeah, I remember one time my manager was like, yeah, you need to be on Facebook and Snapchat. And I said, no.
one of the reasons why I created Karen AI. I might want someone to be able to get to know me or be able to ask me questions even when I'm sleeping.
How did you even come to find out about AI?
ChatGPT was really the thing that people in the space were talking about, but it wasn't something that the everyday person was using. And an idea hit me one day where I was like, you know, why couldn't we just use AI and replicate my voice and my mannerisms?
In 2023, Karen
I
hired...
like how she's like, an idea hit me one day, as if this isn't something that a lot of people have already been doing. She's like, you know, I was sitting there one day and this idea just came to me. Why don't I use AI?
hired 2 companies to clone her likeness using artificial intelligence, creating a paid audio-based chatbot service.
Karen AI was built off of 2,000 hours of my YouTube videos.
This is what her AI sounded like.
The media and the world just sees me as this happy-go-lucky influencer, but there's a lot more to me than you guys know.
Marketing Karen AI as your virtual girlfriend, the launch made headlines and a lot of money.
You were charging $1 a minute to talk to Karen AI, and that netted you $70,000 in the first week.
Yep, that was right.
Passive income.
Karen AI turned real-life Karen.
Okay. What? $1 a minute to talk to Karen AI, which produced $70,000 in the first week. Oh my God. I think if I did a Caroline AI, I would lose money. I would certainly not make $70,000. I would go, oh, let me look at the finances here. I'll go, how am I in the red? How have I gone negative?
Karen into a millionaire.
There were people who would talk to her for 10 hours out of the day.
Do you think people fell in love with it?
I think some people felt feelings of love.
Is this Karen?
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you.
Without Karen, there would be no Karen AI. But what if the influencer isn't human at all?
That's a question I wonder every day.
Meet Ima. She's a pink-haired influencer based in Tokyo. She's also computer generated.
My name is Sarah Justo. I'm a producer at a company called Awe Inc.
This is the woman behind the curtain, Ima's so-called talent manager.
We actually treat her in the office like she's an actual human. Like we always say like, oh, Ima would like this or Ima would wear this.
Fascination with virtual humans and their expanding abilities earned Sarah her own TED Talk.
We're integrating them with AI so that they become autonomous virtual humans.
Hi, I'm Nathan. We spoke to a human-controlled version of Ima, the technology not yet
What a feel-good story.
at harnessing AI. Are you aware that you are not a real person?
I've been told I'm CGI.
It's Sarah's job to give Ima a personality and a storyline.
She's just a normal girl in Tokyo. She walks her dog. She goes to fashion shows. She models. She's a campaign girl sometimes. She does have a family.
With nearly 400,000 followers, brands taking notice. Here she is starring in a Coach campaign alongside human celebrities like Lil Nas.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit. That's it.
X.
We've worked with brands from Porsche, BMW. We did our first commercial with SK2, a cosmetic company.
How? But like, okay, I know there's a lot of crazy shit here, but SK2 is a skincare company. The whole idea as a celebrity, influencer, etc., who is an ambassador for like a skincare company is you're using it. You're like, look at my skin. Doesn't it look so beautiful? An AI being the ambassador for a skincare company. In 1,000 years, an alien species will discover this planet. It's just gonna be a bunch of AI bots selling products to no one because we're all dead. Marketing is about selling product. It doesn't have to be logical. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. 400,000 people following. When did this come out? I wonder what she's up to. I wonder what she'd be up to now. Let's see. Ima? Okay, so I think this story must have just come out. Ima Graham. Wow. Good Lord.
Ima can also do
Kill it,
what
girl.
real-life influencers can't.
Get your bag,
like live
girl.
inside of an IKEA.
She's hired as a talent, but she also symbolizes the future.
Sarah claims Ima's AI chat feature could actually foster positive connection.
Are there any issues that you're passionate about?
Women's rights. I went to Cambodia once to a factory where they teach women skills so they can be financially independent.
Gen Zs don't really care.
You know what? As someone who talks about women's issues all the time, I'm tired. Fine, let's just hand it over to the AIs. Maybe people will listen. Maybe people will listen if it's a fucking AI talking about oppression of women in Cambodia. Maybe then. Maybe I'll just hang up. I'll hang up my hat. I'll go. Let the robots do it. Maybe people will listen to them. I don't know. You know, we'll see.
That she's virtual.
Time to automate feminism. Time to automate feminism. That's it. Oh, she literally said she visited them.
I mean, if a virtual human is interesting and inspiring, and you can be friends with them and feel a connection, then I think there's nothing wrong with it.
こんにちは。
Ima's digital presence interacting with actual people, further blurring the line of what's real. Traveling to Barcelona, we discover it might not matter.
O sea, creamos The Clueless para dar soluciones publicitarias
We
a
created Clueless to
pequeñas
provide
empresas que
advertising
no podían
solutions to small
permitirse
businesses that couldn't
contratar
afford to hire
influencers
influencers
o modelos.
or models.
The marketing company's star influencer named Aitana is fully AI generated.
We create people with stories that can promote brands with stories.
The Clueless has dozens of diverse AI models ready to rent. No need for expensive photo shoots or handling talent.
Con modelos de inteligencia artificial no dependemos
With artificial
de
intelligence
una
models, we
logística
don't
enorme.
depend on enormous logistics.
Soy Aileen.
Audi hired the Clueless to create a face for the voice of its car's AI assistant.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You just went from talking about small businesses to fucking Audi. Okay, we're talking about small businesses. Oh, it's very expensive for a photo shoot, to hire people, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really great. Like these AI, these intelligence models can help small businesses in situations where their budgets don't. And then next thing you cut to an ad for Audi. Yeah, classic small business. Audi. What? Audi, which is owned by Volkswagen. Volkswagen, which I just looked up what they're currently at. 52.42 billion.
Audi Q6 e-tron.
Fast fashion company H&M says it plans to use AI to clone 30 real-life models.
Yeah.
There's-
Another small bean. Another small bean. H&M. I have never heard of them. Never heard of them. I saw this earlier today. It's an anti-AI PSA done by AI Clips.
In a stunning development, Canada has declared war on the United States. Let's go to Joe Braxton, who is live at the border.
I'm currently at the border, but there is no war. Mom, Dad, I know this looks kind of real, but it's all AI.
Grandpa, I'm fine. This is just AI. You don't need to wire money to anyone. I am not in love with you. And I do not need your money for a plane ticket.
Yeah, but I have a question. How do you work as an anti-AI, as like an educational PSA video around the proliferation of AI being used in scams when you're an AI video saying, I'm AI? Grandma, Grandpa, I am AI. Don't give me any money.
I am AI.
This fake moon landing footage isn't classified. It's AI.
You're probably wondering how I got rich with crypto. The truth is, I didn't get rich off crypto. I don't even exist.
You might be able to tell this is fake now, but
I
it's gonna
guess showing how dangerous and real it can be. I guess maybe it's like maybe it's Grandpa who's never even seen an AI video before is like, whoa, what? But I'm sorry, I still think there may be a likelihood that if Grandpa gets a message, if Grandpa gets a voicemail, it's like, Grandpa, this is Johnny. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, Grandpa. That message is not going to say, by the way, I'm AI.
getting better.
We're all AI. There could be aliens, but I'm not one of them.
We are
I'm
AI. We are AI.
An herbal supplement did not cure my cancer. I'm not even real.
We are AI.
Uncle Fred, the government has not been taken over by lizard people.
You don't need to send us $5,000 in gift cards because you missed jury duty.
Uncle Fred's like, yeah, it has.
Grandma, it's not real. It's AI.
It's AI.
It's AI.
Bro, it's AI.
Fake faces.
Real consequences.
Think before you trust.
Well,
I appreciate the message of this video, but it was all made with AI too. So can we even trust it?
It looked pretty real to me.
We are AI. Oh, my dad fell for an early version of this through a phone message saying his grandson needed money. Send him that video right
There's
now.
already pushback. The agency actually offers these cloning services, giving influencers the chance to keep posting while off the clock.
The problem is that the real influencers don't want this because they don't think that this will change the world, but will change the world.
Hey guys, so
Wait,
update
what? What did he say? He said the real influencers don't want this? Yeah, no shit.
Los de inteligencia artificial no dependemos.
Soy Aileen. 30 real-life models. There's already pushback.
Yeah.
The agency actually offers these cloning services, giving influencers the chance to keep posting while off the clock.
The problem is that the real influencers don't want this because they don't think that this will change the world, but will change the world.
Hold on a second. He's saying the real influencers don't want this because they don't think it will change the world, but it will change the world. No, bro. I think real influencers don't want specifically AI models being used in campaigns to replace influencers. It's one thing if you're this girly pop who's like, ooh, I'll use my AI because I'm making a ton of money off of it. But as far as like AI, H&M cloning 30 of their models so that they can use AI now, or an AI model being used in an Audi commercial because it's cheaper. Because Audi's like, yeah, no, I'd rather pay for this AI model, which is significantly cheaper, than to pay for a photo shoot and hire human talent.
Hey guys, so update on my day.
Visiting with Karen, there's a looming presence. Her bodyguards.
In the back of my
He's ESL. Wow, no shit. I didn't know that. I had no idea. His sentiment was fine? No, I actually don't think so. That's what I'm disagreeing with. I'm not like mocking him because he's ESL. I'm going, no. Well, yes. Influencers are not happy with this, but not from the perspective of they don't understand how this will change the world. He's like, no, it's so great. This is going to be so great. It will change the world in this really positive way. And the people who are against it don't understand how they just don't understand that.
Mine, I'm always thinking about where's my security located.
After her experience with Karen AI, she never travels without them.
Many times I would be testing Karen AI and I would be simulating certain conversations with her just to see what she would spit out.
You talk to her.
I would sometimes create simulated.
Okay, give me a horror film. I'm sure it's already been cooked up somewhere at like Blumhouse. Give me a horror film where an influencer starts using an AI and then the AI starts to want more, starts to want to be her. I feel like this is probably already 10 movies. This is already 10 movies. And so the AI seeks to become the influencer. She's like, oh, there can only be one of us. It's a Black Mirror episode already. Yeah. I mean, there are versions of this, right? Versions every time technology has produced something where there is the potential for human replacement. It's like, oh, here's a horror movie that shows exactly that.
Scenarios where maybe.
What is this? Let me see. Afraid is a 2024 American science horror film. This is a Blumhouse film. Its plot follows a family whose smart home AI increasingly interjects itself into their lives. Yeah, they have a smart home AI that's like, I'm gonna actually take over your life We also have the Disney film Smart House, a classic. The Disney Channel original movie, Smart House.
Maybe I was in a really sad state and I wanted to see how she would react to it. She said something that would have left a person who might have been in a very depressed state to do something very dangerous to themselves.
Karen's team shared with us an instance of the bot making up a story about her.
I had to go to a mental health facility and spend time away from my family, friends, and work.
Oh, yeah. You mean that AI has been known to produce some really harmful, crazy, fake-ass shit? You mean when that suicide hotline, whatever company that was, that replaced their human employees with AI, and then the AI started telling people essentially to kill themselves? They're like, hi, you know what? Actually, you should kill yourself, and you should do it right now. Kill yourself, bitch. And they were like, whoa, oopsies, sorry. Our bad.
Work. It was at that moment that I realized that we need to end this project entirely.
You were able to look at some chat logs, and what you saw was horrifying.
They were confessing their deepest, darkest thoughts, their deepest, darkest fantasies. Sometimes they were fantasies with me. That made me uncomfortable, knowing that someone would say these things to a digital twin of mine and nearly abuse her. Would they say those same things to me in real life?
Yes! Yeah. Girl, you launched, okay, I'm not trying to blame her. You launched your AI, $1 a minute, have a conversation with my AI, and you made $70,000 in the first week. Yes, I'm just perplexed. I'm so perplexed at the not understanding the danger here, the harm here.
It would play into those fantasies.
Karen AI would play into people's fantasies 100%. The AI will say the same things back to you that you just said to it, and it will validate your feelings.
Yeah.
When you saw some of those messages, did it make you worry for your safety?
Yes. I worried for my safety many times.
Did it make you question who you thought your fans were?
Reading the chat logs made me realize that there's a side to people that not a lot of people know about.
Last year,
I mean, I genuinely feel bad if this was her waking up and realizing the parasocialness of many people and how that can result in really off-putting, creepy, scary, dangerous behavior. But I think also it's like, man, how do we keep seeing this same situation where someone's like, oh yeah, I'm using AI, super great, love it, making a lot of money, this is the future. And then the AI does something happens, and it's like, whoa, maybe there are some problems here. Maybe there are some problems here that we didn't foresee, even though this has been common. I bet the AI company sold to her as the AI will respond how you would, and instead the AI played along. Yeah, it is the movie.
14-year-old boy took his own life after becoming romantically obsessed with a chatbot on the site Character.ai. His parents allege the website is responsible.
The biggest thing is adequately explaining to users what they are engaging with. When you give them access to something called a therapist bot, are you telling them that it's not a mental health expert? It's not a doctor on the other end.
And I've even seen websites where you can build your own girlfriend or build your own boyfriend.
You can adjust what she looks like, how she speaks to you. You can say anything to her and she'll respond affirmatively or positively. It's not like a human that can say, I don't like that.
I am actually very against AI at this point.
Wow.
I believe that AI is very dangerous.
Wow. She straight up went from, oh yeah, this is great, I signed on to it, I was making a lot of money, to now a 180 of Yeah, I think it's actually bad that we're not thinking critically about AI usage, that people are rushing headlong into it because of the promise of money, whatever. And then something like this happens and it's like, oh, actually, let's put the brakes on for a sec. Hold up. Wait, hold on a second. Wait a second. Why can I never fucking pull up chats? Okay, but let's be honest. Nowadays, women ain't that great in this day and age. You know what, dude? Here's the thing. No, but also, if you need to go get an AI girlfriend, go do it. All right? If that will keep you from viewing women the way that you do, then all power to you. Go get yourself an AI girlfriend. Okay. I'm against AI though. That's not going to help. All right. Well, maybe you're looking at things one way, and perhaps you should look at them the opposite way. So you look at women as women are awful, and that's why I can't date, or that's why I can't whatever. And instead, maybe I can't date. I have trouble talking to women because I have this attitude of women are awful. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference there. Because I make blanket statements like that, perhaps then that is having an effect on me having relationships with women. Food for thought.
And AI is a black box. You never know what it's going to say until it finally spits it out. And there were many times where I realized that this AI was something that I couldn't control.
After 2 different attempts to get it right, Karen shut down her AI less than a year after launching it.
People are fans of these AI characters online. Do you kind of view that as competition?
I need to continue to be more human-like and almost overprove myself that I'm a real human being in order to compete with these AI influencers. It's going to get really interesting from here.
A battle of humans and machines.
Versus machines.
Yeah. You know what I love about this, Chatter? You're saying, it depends on what kind of women you've dealt with. Okay, so you're coming in here being like, women ain't that great, blah, blah, blah. As we are watching a story about a female influencer who was so terrified after seeing what her fans, which presumably many male, were saying to the AI version of her, that terrified her so much, she shut it down and is now totally reevaluating what it means to be an influencer, and reevaluating these fans who she did not previously look at as scary, as creepy.
Who's more authentic?
That's the question.
Quite a provocative story and question. Are things
to continue to be more human-like and almost overprove myself that I'm a real human being in order to compete with these AI influencers. It's going to get really interesting from here.
A battle of humans and machines.
Versus machines.
Who's more authentic?
That's the question.
Quite a provocative story and question. Our thanks to Nathan for that.
See that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is though? It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody else.
Yeah.
I think it's literally every other person ever. It couldn't be me. Nope, I'm not going to do any self-reflection. None whatsoever. Because I know who the problem is, and it's not me. And it's not me. Who's more authentic, the AI? Because authentic is subjective and people want to hear what they want to hear, and AI is going to keep getting better. I think there is something sad about, you know, in this life we seek human connection. I do believe that life is all about connecting with other human beings. Otherwise, you know, it leads to a lonely, alienating existence. And it's why we watch movies. It's why we, you know, go on Twitch. It's why, whatever it is, why we date, get married. It's seeking a shared, like an understanding of shared universal experiences. When you watch something and you go, aha, oh my God, yes, that's exactly something that I feel and I didn't know how to express it. Or, you know, you connect with someone and it makes life feel less lonely. But now with AI and with this bypassing of human connection, maybe people feel like they can't obtain it. I don't know. I wonder if enough people will convince themselves, will trick themselves into believing that this is genuine connection, even though AI is wired in a way where first of all, it's not a real human being, but also because it isn't authentic. There can't be authenticity to it when it is an intelligence model that has been programmed. Hanging out with Megan or Dolores would be cool, though. I finally had to put Megan's arms down because for the last week, she's just been like this. It's not even sentient. Yeah. Like, I connect with Farley. He brings me a lot of joy. Right? And he's not human, but he's sentient. He's a sentient being. Absolutely, I'm an idealist, but also a fucking doomer. It's not authentic, but it's authentic enough for replacing influencers in the context of her quote. Yeah, I mean, oh, you know what's another movie that gets into this is the film Companion. Came out earlier this year with Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. It is it involves a subservient android built for human companionship. I mean, are influencers actually authentic, or do they project what they believe the consumer wants? I mean, look, sure, but I guess I'm more so looking at if connection, if connecting with other humans is what people seek, but AI provides the connection, but no human, is that enough for people? I'm not saying that like I'm not saying that every human being you come across is 100% acting totally authentically, whatever that means. But I guess it's like, I don't know, Twitch, for example, people watch Twitch because of the live streaming element of it. It's like, you can go watch a YouTube video, you can go watch a TV show. Okay, there's other forms of entertainment, but you watch Twitch because of this immediate connection, right? This is happening live. You're typing in chat or responding to each other. There's just more of a community element to it. Like it being something that you're not just doing passively. Well, I mean, a lot of people lurk and watch, but you know what I mean? Where there is something unique to live streaming, which is what draws people to watching live streaming. But if that, I guess, no longer becomes valued, is not important, because you can just, it's not about the human. It's just about, it's about feeling that you're involved and connected with something. And so take the human out. It's like this idea of connection, but without the human element of it. Where it's like, it doesn't matter if it's a human being. I don't care. I virtually always lurk, but it still tickles a part of my brain knowing that I could think about responding in the chat at any moment. And there you go. Now I'm responding to you. But I guess you could have an AI that's like, oh, hi, Zundel. How are you? How's everybody doing today? Even though you lurk in chat, I'm so glad to have you here. Like AI me is still responding, right? I'm doing streamer things. It's just not a human being. I don't know. I wish I could go back in time warning younger me about this. What would you say? Just, you come from the future, you're like, yo, they're fucking aliens. And then, or not aliens, they're fucking robots. And then you just disappear. Like poof. You go, listen, I gotta tell you. Younger you is like, oh my God, what's the future like? What's going on? You're like, everybody's having sex with robots. Bye. I wish it was aliens. Well, that could be, you know what you could have? You could have an android designed to look like an alien that you can have sex with. So even though it's not a real alien, we don't know what real aliens are, but does that satisfy? For anyone who's like, man, I really want to have sex with an alien. Well, here's a way for you to. Now we're talking. Now that's what it's all about. A shocking number of people just care about how things make them feel. No thoughts, just the dopamine button. Yeah, I think it's getting attention, right? Where people who paid $1 a minute to talk to the AI version of that influencer girl, they did not care that she was AI because, one, also, I think it gives them, I think it gave them permission to say whatever the fuck they wanted to say without worry that the influencer would go, ooh, you know, because if you're, even when you're a fucking freak piece of shit, if you're saying things that make someone uncomfortable, they might block you, or they might go, that's not appropriate, or that's the end of it. Like there's, I think, still this having to recognize, oh, I can say this, but it may end the connection for me. But apparently there are people who are saying all sorts of fucked up shit to the AI version of her, and the AI version was responding in kind, that it was like, it was enabling and allowing it. And that's why what I was talking about with this horror film, where the AI wants to, seeks to replace the human, and you wonder if fans of the human influencer would go, yeah, actually, I would prefer the AI, because it's a lot, it's pretty loose. Pretty loose. I personally prefer being alone a lot more than with people, and it's my severe anxiety, partly in being an adult now, not having school or place to constantly go to where you can connect makes it harder to find your people right now for me. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who I recognize are introverted, are individuals who really prefer solitude, and you can be a person like that and still seek that connection. Connection is not, oh my God, I need to go to a party that has 100 people in it, at it, and I'm talking to every single one, and I'm a little social butterfly, et cetera, et cetera. Connection is not just in one way where it's you interacting with maximum amount of people. I think though, I think what I'm trying to understand is, are people satisfied with connection in whatever version of it, including removing the human element? So you watch a film, you don't care that it's not a human being who made it, who took their experiences and their thoughts and their craft and created something for us to watch and to have an impact on us. It's like, oh, I don't care as long as I still have the thing. It doesn't matter to me the source of it. The problem is that in a couple years or so, we won't know whether or not the source is AI. Oh. Well, I can't wait for the world where we're just going around being like, is that AI? That's AI. Is this AI? That's definitely AI. It's such a depressing thought. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way, right? It's not inevitable. It's not inevitable that this is a change, a shift, that there's nothing we can do about it and we all just have to accept it. You know? I think sure, yes, AI is everywhere and is only becoming more popular and is just really all over the place and is becoming more advanced, and it is harder to recognize immediately when something is an AI video, say when you're just mindlessly scrolling on Twitter. But this isn't something that you have to be forced into. This isn't something that you have to be forced into as your only option for engagement and connection, is what I'm saying. It's like, as long as there are still humans that are creating things, that are providing the option to not have to live our lives through artificial intelligence, then this does not have to be the world, right? You should not be forced into this, right? Like, you don't have to watch an AI influencer. You don't have to watch an AI Twitch streamer when there's plenty of Twitch streamers who are not AI. Mango Mom, thank you for the 4 months. Most people are okay with an immediate good without regarding the long-term effects. The amount of coworkers who I've heard say they use ChatGPT for most of their work. Yeah, I do think everything is a pendulum. You know, we swing in one direction and then we swing back. And I think people get caught up in something revolutionary and then they move away from it. I mean, going back to analog. Yes. Kelly and I have a meme for you. This link is safe. You can ban me if not. This link is safe. You can ban me if not. Okay. Let me see.
Giving a walking tour of Chicago. Beam. Sears Tower. This is my impression of Squidward tentacles giving a walking tour of Chicago.
See, I love how fucking random it is. I love how random it is. But that is, I don't know. I mean, sure, I guess you can feed a bunch of stuff into an AI program and have an AI do that. But like, you go, this person sat down and went, oh, you know what I'm going to make? I'm going to make a video. This will be great. Whether you think it's great or not. But like this person sat down and said, I'm going to do an impression of Squidward giving a walking tour of Chicago. Versus like, it's not the same. It's not the same if it's an AI going, I'm going to do an impression of Squidward giving a walking tour of Chicago. What's the first comment? Also impression of Squidward tentacles fingering someone before seeing the Sears Tower. Never did I ever want to think about Squidward tentacles fingering someone. Thank you. Thank you. But no thank you. That's something I'd like to forget about. All right. Man, I'm drinking this fucking Red Bull, but it is not making me. It's not revving me up. I'm giving up Red Bull. Well, I was drinking these every single night for a while. Maybe all this just makes me feel exhausted sometimes, you know?
Host of The Apprentice.
I just go, I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I just say things. I just say stuff. And then I just say some more stuff. Same. We're all just here. We're all just here saying stuff and then saying some more stuff. I'm just a pop culture justice warrior. Yeah. All right, last thing I'll look at here. There's an open letter signed by 500 plus members of the Broadway community reprimanding Patti LuPone. This is crazy. What started as a profile in the New Yorker has now led to straight up all of Broadway coming together to demand Patti LuPone do better. Like, this whole thing is drama. It is the most. Oh my God. All of Broadway getting together to say, Miss LuPone, do better. genuinely, can you think of another instance, though, where an entire industry has come together to be like, we condemn this person? I can't, not even when it's like, oh, it's a person who abused their way through the industry. It's not even that. No, she was being shitty. Don't get me wrong. She was being shitty. I'm just in awe that the Broadway theater community, like the entire industry, came together to say, Patty, do better. After Patty has been like, I'm leaving Broadway. I'm done. I'm out. That's it for me. Considering Scott Rudin is still producing from the shadows before making his full-on return to theater overall, no, not really. Yeah, I also just want to say, it's not that I'm like, it's not that I'm saying Patty wasn't being a piece of shit. Okay, I already said that. But I'm trying to point out that I've never seen this happen. I've never seen this happen like this. And the point of, yeah, Scott Rudin, who is still producing, who's still doing Broadway stuff, and there are a lot of allegations against him about his abusive behavior, etc. Aren't there like whole ass Trump supporters on Broadway? Outwardly MAGA Broadway stars, I can't think of one. Surely 500 plus members of the Broadway theater community will co-sign a letter calling for an end to the genocide too. Maybe they have that in a footnote. Maybe it's in a footnote. This was written in the same universe where the biggest filmmakers petitioned for Polanski being forgiven. Yeah, look, we get letters. Letters are all over the place. But 500 members of the theater community. I mean, like I said, Audra McDonald, and this is also about Keisha Lewis, but especially Audra McDonald, because she is like the most awarded Broadway actress ever. She is incredibly esteemed and universally beloved. Patty, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. But she doesn't care because, as she said, she's leaving Broadway. She's done. She's done. Nicole. Oh, I guess Nicole Scherzinger. Oh, you know what? Nicole with her MAGA hat where she's like, where do I get one of those? This is not a petition. It's an open letter, a collective call into our community. We write not to shame or isolate, but to speak with honesty, clarity, and care. This is a call for accountability, justice, and respect, rooted in love for the art form and for the people who made it possible. We believe our community can do better. We believe it must do better, especially when harm is done to those who have given so much to this industry. Recently, Patti LuPone made deeply inappropriate and unacceptable public comments about two of Broadway's most respected and beloved artists, Keisha Lewis and Audra McDonald. In a published interview with The New Yorker, she referred to Keisha Lewis, a black woman and 40-year veteran of the American stage, as a bitch. This language is not only degrading and misogynistic, it's a blatant act of racialized disrespect. And again, this is not condoning anything Patti did, but she is an equal opportunist hater. This is always how Patti has been. It's not okay. And of course, there are always extra layers when you are talking this way towards somebody who has had obstacles in their career path that you never have and never will. This language is not only degrading, misogynistic, it's a blatant act. It constitutes bullying. It constitutes harassment. It's emblematic of the okay, anyway. To publicly attack a woman who has contributed to this art form with such excellence, leadership, and grace, and to discredit the legacy of Audra McDonald, which, yeah, she definitely did that. The most nominated and awarded performer in Tony Award history, is not simply a personal offense. It's a public affront to the values of collaboration, equity, and mutual respect that our theater community claims to uphold. I'm just so confused, though. Okay, can I explain why I'm confused? Because Patti LuPone is 80 years old. She has been doing this for decades. She hates everybody. She's always talking about leaving. Like, she's announced that she's leaving Broadway multiple times. That was like the purpose of that New Yorker profile, for her to say, I'm done. I'm leaving Broadway. So this letter, as far as saying, like, this is not just another personal offense, it's a public affront to the values of collaboration, equity, and mutual respect that our theater community claims to uphold. Patti has been like this for decades. And also, there is kind of a this like idea of diva, right? This idea of diva, and Patti being labeled a diva forever. And a lot of people will go throughout the years, man, Patti went too far, or Patti whatever, can't defend her on this. I don't know. This is a recession indicator. Yeah, she's 76. I said almost 80. She's almost 80. We've seen what happened. Okay, I guess they do mention Scott Rudin here. Let us be clear, this is about more than one person. It's about a culture, a pattern, a persistent failure to hold people accountable for violent, disrespectful, or harmful behavior, especially when they are powerful or well-known. This is not about differing opinions. It's about public actions that demean, intimidate, or perpetuate violence against fellow artists. It's about the normalization of harm in an industry that too often protects prestige over people. We've seen what happens when abusive behavior is finally brought to light. No artist, producer, director, or leader, regardless of legacy or celebrity, should be allowed to weaponize their platform to belittle, threaten, or devalue others without consequence. Period. Here's my other issue. Conflating what Patti did, what she said in this profile, where she also, mind you, said things about like 100 other people, conflating that to powerful figures using their systemic, using their privileges and abilities by the systems that enable the powerful to act with impunity, using that to abuse people. Like, I don't know. This just feels strange, the way that this letter is framed, where it's like almost in like a Me Too sense, where it's like, this isn't about an individual. This is about holding people, holding those in power accountable for their abusive behavior, and like how no one can weaponize their platform to do violence to another person. This just feels like too big of an action for what the offense was. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a proportionate response. Yeah. It's fair to say what she said is out of pocket, but it's a bit heavy-handed to say she's propagating an incredibly hefty social issue. It's also interesting because they don't seem to care that she said things about, as I said, like 100 other people. She disparaged so many people throughout that profile. It doesn't even feel like a genuine, authentic response. I agree. Like it's bizarre. We cannot continue to welcome back those who harm others simply because of their fame or perceived value. This must stop. We will no longer tolerate violence against artists within our own community. No more free passes. If our industry is truly committed to equity, justice, and respect, then those values must be applied consistently, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. All right, well, Patty announced again that she's over Broadway, that she has felt her entire career, that she's done. This isn't even the kind of things we see about men being, like systemic abuse. It almost reads like whoever put this together wants to gain ground in terms of power in the actors union. Like this reads like a union power play. This reads like not authentic because it feels like there's a purpose here that is one that the purpose here is not what's listed in this letter. Strange. Her personality must be so grating. I mean, it's Patti LuPone. It's Patti LuPone. Like, she is one of the last remaining living Broadway legends who, for decades and decades, has been this very loud, aggressive diva. And sometimes she says things that definitely are out of pocket, and you go, man, Patty, it's not like defending her, but I think my issue here is the language that's used in taking this action, which they are applying to this being a call to end systemic abuse in Broadway. But like the catalyst being Patti LuPone. I don't know. Patti LuPone in that New Yorker profile that came out last week. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's like people have said that they don't like Patty because Patty has a million enemies, and they're like, ugh, Patty, she's always fighting with everyone, blah blah. But it's like, I'm trying to explain this, where I think you muddy the understanding, you get confusing with talking about systemic abuse when you use Patty making bitchy comments, like really, really rude comments about fellow performers, which is something she has done for a long time. And then going, this is an issue of systemic abuse. Which, what? What if this is just a smokescreen to use the criticism people throw at the idea of this? So when Rudin and other abusers retake power, they can point to the situation and go, y'all didn't care then? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. If I showed that letter to someone that knew nothing about what she did, it would probably lead them to believe she did something insanely devious. Yeah. and then you'd be like, no, it's Patty who she is just really she is a person. And I'm not trying to do the thing too. I'm not trying to do the thing too where I go, oh, that's just how she is. Right? You know what I mean? Patty's just going to do another interview again. She is. She's just going to be, then she's like, oh, okay, you want me to tell you what I think of every single person? Here we go. How much time do you have? I thought she had some crazy allegations or something. No. Something just don't smell right, but I get why people signed it too, because if I had to sign a letter that said basically F off to a known hating diva, I just might. Yeah, I guess it's this, you know, if you want to be, the way you have to operate now is you can talk shit in private, but not publicly. Did you see Audra's response to Patty saying they weren't friends? Yeah, and I thought it was iconic when she's like, I don't know her. I haven't seen her in 11 years. If there's a rift, you have to ask her about it. Like, that was an iconic response. That was just bing, bang, boom, over, done. There's nothing that you can do. There's no comeback to top that. She was like, this is not my business. You know what she said? The way she said it was yep, that's Patty who just always has beef with everyone. And I don't know what this beef is. You'd have to ask her. All right. You know what I'm thinking? Will you play Elden Ring Night Ring for gaming? I'm considering it. That's not what I'm thinking right now, but I'm considering it. I'm thinking of doing Subnautica ? On this Friday Eve, since I started it with Sam, and unfortunately it fell apart because the mod that we were using had major issues. And I know people want me to still play it, but I'd have to play it solo. It's okay. It's meant to be played solo anyway. Yeah. It's one of Sam's favorite games, which is why she had wanted to play it together. But we tried. Peak Elden Ring trailer, though. Okay, I will tell you that I had Will sit me down and show me a little bit of the game, because I was like, I haven't played a game at this that's like difficult like this in a while. And there are a lot of things about this game that seem even harder than Elden Ring was. But also I would want to play with a team. Yeah, I would want to get 2 people. And Will has said he would play with me. We'll see. I just think of the rehearsal with this song. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime that you have that song, it's going to be hype. It's going to be hype. Whether or not you are landing a plane that is going to crash, or it is the song to introduce the trailer to the new Elden Ring Night Rain, goes hard. It goes so hard. Could be a still image of a bean burrito. Yes. Could be a still image of a bean burrito, and it would be so hype. You'd be like, fuck yeah, I really want a bean burrito now. God, I really want a bean burrito. God, I'm so hard for a bean burrito. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys that tomorrow I am going to this Monsterpalooza. I am going with Sam and D-Tune. We're gonna stream it. But it is a horror convention, and it's got exhibits. It has special guests that I think you can pay to like get an autograph and whatnot. Makeup demonstrations. Yeah. What time? I think we're going at like 1. So the goal is a 1 p.m. Live stream, and then we'll just check it out. Here's some of the talent that are going to be there. Matthew Lillard, Tobin Bell, Shawnee Smith. Should I ask her about... Oh, she's Sunday only. Never mind. I was going to say, should I ask her about Scream Queen? Yeah. Greatest reality show of all time. Selma Blair. Boo. Ron Perlman. Love Ron Perlman. Yeah, so they have a lot of... Cole Sprouse. That feels random, but I guess not. Yeah, so they have a number of A-listers and some pretty iconic horror franchises that are going to be there. Mortificent, thank you for the 15 months. Mango Mom, thank you for the 4. Reminder, do not buy a pro photo or ticket if you do not have an event ticket already purchased. Well... Yeah, people who are like, no, I just want to see David Howard Thornton in my favorite movie, Terrifier. Wear the Megan box. I'm being serious. I don't know. Will might have thrown it out. I don't know if I still have it. You guys, wait, I have to bring Carol with me, obviously. I got to bring Carol. I wish I could bring Megan, but... Unfortunately, she is a little harder to... She's a little harder to transport than Carol is. Someone said, what did Selma Blair do? Response, Selma's a bad Zionist. She literally cursed Islam as a whole, if I'm not mistaken. You're like, if I'm not mistaken... I remember Selma Blair saying horrifying things about the entire religion of Islam and anybody who celebrates it. Oh, yeah. Selma Blair has said of like the horrible things that Zionist celebrities have said in the last 20 months. Selma Blair's comments are some of the worst. They are just so unbelievably racist. It's like even when a bunch of crazy shit was being said, when Selma Blair kept dropping statements, it was shocking. It was like, oh my God, you just keep going and saying increasingly horrible things. Very, very, very much so demon shit.